Your Mouth Lounge. Discord ate me saying welcome, didn't it?
Yeah.
Of
It
course it is.
did.
Oh, this is just a problem of having the mic a little too low. I'm gonna have to set it up on a stand at some point. Either which way, yeah. Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 221. Did I get that right, Addy?
Yes. We have a swanky new logo.
Whoopee! I get a gold star. And
Yeah.
yes, we have a new logo. Behold, with your eyeballs.
I
And,
can't. I tabbed out.
oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
They killed him.
He
my
tapped out
God,
of
he
life.
caught
He tapped out of life.
What's going on there?
He's alt-tabbing into another dimension.
Yeah.
How's the negative zone, Pink?
Oh, he's
miserable in here.
He's making a lot of movie reviews with his favorite YouTuber, Martin Lee.
Oh no.
All right. So, yeah, it's me, Alex, and there's Addy making the jokes about this Martin Lee character, who I do not know, but I will assume is a
It's Mr.
douchebag.
Negative.
Oh, Mr. Negative.
Yeah.
Okay, I was also going for a Marvel reference. I was just going for an entirely different Marvel reference. Weird overlap there. How is it Mr. Negative and the Negative Zone aren't actually connected?
That's a good question right there.
Like, could they not just, like, say that, like, you know what? If I got put in charge of making a new Marvel canon, I would have it be canon that Annihilus at some point ate Martin Lee and shat out Mr. Negative. That's just how it works. All right.
And
And
honest, I have no idea how normal Martin Lee works, so I'm good with that.
Normal Martin Lee, much too much Angry Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get the introduction in here real quick while I still can before I
Yeah.
forget. The guy, the comic meister here, talking about Martin Lee and Mr. Negative now with the high-pitched voice is Pink. In case by some odd means someone is watching this podcast who has never watched any of our stuff before, why would you?
Save yourself.
Get out now while you still can.
Before it's too late.
I need to do a picture edit. Well, that needs to be the thumbnail for one of the podcasts. It needs to be a picture edit of the fucking Beware of Ogres sign from Shrek, but it's all faces.
Hey man, I don't smell that bad.
But you do live in a swamp.
Well, that's kind of almost true. The forest behind our house is flooded right now for some reason. And there's so much dog shit and dog piss in the little fenced area we've got in our backyard that, yeah, it's pretty well a shit swamp. So that's great.
Yeah, so much to do and so much to see.
Later, I'm gonna have to. One of us. I'm probably not gonna get around to it, but at one point, one of us is gonna have to clean up some shit they dragged in. So that's just a delight.
Oh yeah, that's the best. Good times there.
Merry Christmas. All right, Pink, you got anything coming out on your channel?
Not at the moment, but hopefully as the week goes on, I'll get back to recording the Civilizations and Dead by Daylights. I might have recorded the session we did the other day with Mike and Clown, but I don't remember because it was late and I was tired.
Yeah. I noticed you were oddly silent. I was figuring something was up.
Yeah. It had been a long day, and that followed a long week, so yeah.
Yeah, the post-move exhaustion can last for weeks.
Uh-huh.
All right. Atty, you got anything coming out on your channel?
Yes, I believe it is the review of Sonic and All-Stars Racing. No, what is it? So, Team Sonic Racing, that's the one.
All right.
I feel like I played that one.
No, you played Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. That's the old one.
You know, I'd ask you for the opinion you expressed in the video, but then you'd have to kill me.
Really, I spent 5 minutes doing nothing but like with random volume saying praise big, and then it's a slow pan zoom into his face, and then on the end of it's just Death Stranding.
Yeah. You just wake up. You, Addy, wake up naked on a beach and hold a tiny Big the cat to your chest.
Yeah,
Just the idea of Addy having to travel around with like a Big the cat in a jar strapped to his chest.
and it reads like a rouge.
Yeah. Instead of reconnecting America, the goal is to reconnect Big to Froggy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this fishing trip brought to you by Monster Energy.
How dare you go on a fishing trip
Oh
without paying?
boy.
What happened?
I
I
think
have no idea what just happened.
I think Pink has been hit by the negative zone. He's in a delay.
Oh
Oh,
no.
did I get cut out there? I don't know.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. All right. So what
I was
else?
reacting to the Monster Energy drink there, but maybe
I
Discord cut
prefer
out some of that.
I prefer to pretend that Monster Energy doesn't exist.
I forgot it did.
You
Have they
lucky soul, you.
did they ever use freaking Skillet's Monster as an advertisement thing, because they deserve each other. That song and that drink.
Uh,
Man, I
I'm sure
love
there's an
that song when I was
overlap.
12.
I'm sure there's an overlap between fan bases, but not to my knowledge. No. Definitely two artifacts of the 2000s. But here's the thing: you guys gotta get ready. In 10 years, people are gonna be thinking the 2000s are the coolest.
I already do, but it depends on which part, I guess. I like because like I like the like fake 60s science shit at the start of the 2000s, and like the freaking what else? There's a couple things I liked about the 2000s. There's some things I didn't. You know, like I don't mind that.
Every decade's got bad stuff at some point.
Yeah, like I don't mind that we don't call each other cigarettes anymore.
I
Shit
was
like that.
not privy to that, but okay. Oh, cigarette. No, okay, now I get it. I was like, why
Yeah.
would you call your friend a cigarette? Yeah.
Yeah, you just
All right.
back in the mid 2000s, people would just roll down their windows, blasting 50 Cent, and they say Marlboro, and I would cry. Lucky
All
Strike.
right.
Anyway,
Oh, that sounds like an anime move. Lucky Strike.
yeah,
That
it
is
probably
almost
is.
I'm
certainly a
not
Final
certain
Fantasy or
that
Shin
it
Megami
isn't.
Tensei move.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, everything's probably been an anime move at some point. I'd love to see some anime fight. It'd probably be in like One Punch Man or something, where the guy's attack move is labeled "I must file my taxes" or something like that.
That's King Dedede's super attack in the new
Yeah.
Kirby game.
And then
If
Yoshi says, "I must not file my taxes."
yeah,
They keep sending tax collectors to Kirby, but Kirby keeps eating them.
I mean, look, man's gotta eat.
Yeah. I've said this countless times before, but no one really talks about how disturbing it is that Kirby just casually eats intelligent living beings constantly.
Nah, it's fine. They're Cyclopses.
But we see
Some of them,
Bandana One.
anyway.
He's cool. See, like the one acceptable one that Kirby says, "No, you're cool. I won't eat you, but I will consume the entirety of the rest of your race. You are not but larder for the gods." Anyways, Eddie,
The more you think about
wha-
Kirby, the weirder it gets.
Oh
oh
boy,
yeah.
just wait a bit.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Anyway,
So, Eddie, is there anything we can expect from your Sonic All Star Racing? Oh shit, Sonic Team Racing video, other than the horrifying nature of a lovable cartoon character devouring sentient beings without any care in the world?
no, I think that covers the Sonic fandom in its entirety, really.
That is true. Yes.
Hold up 1 second.
Pink needs to
Pink,
make sure. He needs to check.
Pink's going to go concuss himself so that he forgets what we just said.
Uh, Pink, Pink is trying to check the contribution of the Sonic fandom to economy by looking up Sonic inflation.
See, you say Sonic inflation, and I know what you mean, but for a split second, I'm imagining it's such bad economic inflation that it breaks the Sonic barrier. The, the, the
Wall
Reichsmark
Street
between world
collapses
wars,
literally.
that's Sonic inflation. There you go.
Wall Street collapses literally because the sound waves are so high.
Who decides the sound barrier for money?
Bill Gates.
Meh. That, he probably could. If he just threw around enough of his money, which would then cause Sonic inflation.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch pulling in my driveway.
The best parts of these bits is that we can't actually call the video shit like Sonic inflation because, oh boy.
Yeah, See, that's the trouble that more and more with every video I'm starting to think, maybe we shouldn't name our videos dank memes. We've made a mistake. And we cannot take it back. We're too committed now. We're in too deep, and we're trying to keep our head. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics. Fuck it.
Up above in our head to prevent us from going under or something like that.
Now, is that Sum 41 or
Yeah.
is it Blink 22? Because I get those bands mixed up because their names are.
It's Sum 41. Blink 182 is
Okay.
Blink 182 is She Left Me Roses by the Stairs.
I know that one. That one I know for certain.
That's the only song they ever made. That's the only thing Blink 182 is known for.
They made one other song. I don't remember the name of it, but they made the song.
That's the jong. That's the joke. That's the jong. That's Kim Jong Un. Fuck. No, that's the joke.
Did you say Kim Jong Un is the lead singer of Blink 182?
Maybe. Oh
No,
shit.
that's where he's been hiding all these years. We thought he's been in a coma.
He's just touring with Blink. They did reunite recently, so it checks out.
Isn't the lead singer of Blink 182 legit crazy?
To some extent, I'm not sure the exact extent, but yes, to some extent, yes.
I'm almost certain that he's one of those like crop duster guys who's like, "Oh, they're drugging us."
No, he's an alien guy.
Oh, he's an alien guy. Those guys are more harmless. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then the vocalist I remember started another band with a guy from, I don't even remember which other band, but basically he got the secondary vocalist who is also like the guitar player for Blink 182 got together with the singer of another pop punk band, and they started a band where they do nothing but bitch.
I mean, that's kind of just punk, honestly, and pop punk and whatever it is that you would consider Blink 182.
It depends. Like punk is more aggressive bitching. This is that band does sad bitching, which could be pop punk, but pop punk is very ill defined, and also ranges from I fell in love for the first time to I got dumped for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Happens to the best of us.
And I say this,
The cosmic ballet goes on.
yeah, and I say this as someone who actually likes pop punk, like the amount of topics are like there's a very big ravine between the topics going between actual political issues, and then I got dumped for the first time, and both of those things can be in pop punk music.
Yeah, Green Day, I think, is the biggest example I can think of for some bands I listen to, where it's like, yeah, we got one album that's just about dating and romance and so on. And the next album, it's like, all right, let's talk about 9/11. What?
Yeah. Yeah, and then recently pop punk came back. I don't know if y'all know about this too much, but recently pop punk got a new wave with fucking Machine Gun Kelly. But you know, it's
Ew.
yeah. Look, he couldn't make it as a rapper. He needs to make it as a rock artist.
There's
But
there's some things that I just find deeply amusing in the contrast between my like regular everyday real world life and then talking with you guys both on the forum and on here. And it's always funny to go from like real life where my sister adores Machine Gun Kelly, then talking to you guys and y'all think Machine Gun Kelly's the shits. And I have never listened to any of his music except for that one WrestleMania theme he did. I don't know jack shit about him other than what he looks like. So I just don't have any strong opinion on him one way or the other.
I listened
Caught
to
I
between two
remember
extremes.
yeah.
Kevin Owens power bombed him off the stage once. That was pretty radical.
Oh, so that's why they're putting him in the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking Bad Bunny's wrestled a couple matches, and Logan Paul's going to be wrestling a match. So where did Machine Gun Kelly wrestle? Apparently there.
Yeah.
But they didn't go with Stephen
Probably not
Amell.
his. I don't think that was his first time getting thrown or doing a bump for them either. I think he's been power bombed or spine busted at least one other time. I couldn't tell you when that other time was because that was probably in like 2008 or something, and I wasn't watching regularly back then. But I know for a fact that Kevin Owens power bombed him off the stage way back in 2016.
I mean, like, regardless of what you think about Machine Gun Kelly, I vastly prefer celebrities taking bumps than giving bumps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mike Tyson punching out Shawn Michaels was a classic moment. But I always respected Muhammad Ali more because when Muhammad Ali did pro wrestling appearances, he made sure to job because he respected pro wrestling. You know?
Right.
Hell, didn't Muhammad Ali once job to Andre?
Possibly. I don't recall specifically Andre or anything. I remember Vader said at one point they were doing it was one of the big WCW pay-per-views that Muhammad Ali actually had no part in but attended, and Muhammad was putting over Vader and how talented he was even though he wasn't, and kind of just everyone knows Muhammad Ali at that point, everyone loves Muhammad Ali, but he was very adamant in not doing any big appearance on the show and just putting over the other guys that were actually working that night, so that was cool.
I mean, that was probably like, speaking of Ali and wrestling, that would have been after the point where Inoki fucked his legs. So I don't think anyone would have
Right.
wanted to see that Ali in the ring.
Right.
The one wrestling match that Ali did shoot and not worked was by far the most disastrous, that's for certain. Yeah, that's one of those big wrestling stories that I have. Like, there are some wrestling stories that I have to just laugh at because it's like, who thought this was a good idea?
Right.
I was just the
There's
other
so
day
many of those, though.
telling the story about how WCW hired Sheik after Sheik got fired for the Coke thing in WWF. They brought in Sheik,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, "Oh shit, we're bringing in the Sheik. He's one of the golden age WWE wrestlers. They made him big. They made the company big over there. He'll do the same thing for us." No, it's old, drugged out Sheik. He can't wrestle anymore. So they started paying Sheik not to wrestle. And then they forgot they had him on contract, so they had to spend another year paying him not to wrestle. Oh, that's a great one. That one's a great one. The only one better for contract bullshittery with wrestling is Pillman intentionally getting all three companies to pay him not to wrestle.
At the same time.
That one wasn't even accidental. That one was 100% intentional on his part.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right. So, Addy, you got anything else to say about the Sonic Team Racing video?
Nope.
All right. You releasing anything else?
Maybe I did get I did a compilation, funnily enough, of all of the glitches I've seen in this quarter of the year, and I thought about releasing that to the second channel, but I'm not sure yet. I don't know if it's funny
Be
enough
fun.
or like I don't know if it's good content.
I think it can be funny, and no matter what, it's always fun to see a compilation of glitches, regardless of what's going on or whether or not it's even being commentated at all. Just because glitches are fascinating, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And on my channel, well, see, for a while I've not been doing anything, right? Because there's that 30,000 page paper looming over the horizon, and I've been trying to work on other things, get other things out of the way for when that comes. And I mentioned it to Soon a couple days ago. And Soon was like, holy shit, 30,000. Did I say 30,000 page? I meant
Yeah.
30,000 word, whatever.
Yeah, I figured.
Regardless,
I
Soon's
was hoping that's what you
Yeah,
meant, but
write the entire
30,000
college, you never
write,
know.
I need
write
to
the
write 5. I need to write the equivalent of 5 Pride and Prejudices.
no W. It's fine. Just write the entirety of Encyclopedia Britannica. It'll be fine.
30,000 words. Okay, there we go. I mentioned to Sue, and Sue was like, holy shit, 30,000 words? You serious? I was like, yeah. And it made me second doubt myself, though, so I went and checked. So I have a problem where when I see a repeating set of zeros, I add one.
Ah.
So here's the thing. I don't have that problem if they use commas to separate the numbers. This guy did not do that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I read
It
the
usually
syllabus.
helps to put the commas there. That's what you're supposed to
Yeah,
do.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. So at the start of the semester, when I was trying to rush through and scan through the syllabuses of each class, because that's what you do at the start of a semester in college, online classes, you scan through the syllabus to see what you got to do, what books you got to buy, and so on and so forth. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I scanned through all the syllabuses and I just rushed past that, and I was like, holy shit, 30,000 words. I need to tell everyone. And I have been telling everyone, and I've been panicking for 2 or 3 months now. 3 months now. Yeah. No, 2 months. I can't do math. As you can see by me adding an extra zero. So I went back and checked that now, and I see 3,000. And I swear to God, I was like, holy shit. I shit 3,000 word papers out regularly. There's several classes I've had where I've had to do like 3,000 word papers every week.
Mm-hmm.
My God. I already have got a sixth of it done. I've already got all the sources I need to cite.
I thought you meant you already got a sixth of the 30,000 page or whatever word paper. At which point,
I already got 6 words.
Me and Sue were joking about, could you imagine if I had not gone back and corrected myself? And the due date, like a little less than a month from now, I submitted a 30,000 word paper, this entire massive literature review on everything that's ever been written on human trafficking to this guy. This professor, man, I was saying this soon, that guy, he would open up the document, see the word count, and he would either give me an F or an A on the spot, and no matter what, would not read that shit.
Yeah. That is exactly what would happen.
That college is not paying him enough. Ugh. That'd have been a fucking dissertation. I could go for my doctorate and just cite myself.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So either which way, that's a massive weight off my shoulders, which means I probably do want to get back to doing stuff on the channel because it looks like I actually will have more free time than I suspected. But I don't have anything immediately planned. I want to crack up some kind of video summarizing my thoughts on Warhammer 3 because there has been a whole hullabaloo about that, and I haven't brought it up on the podcast because frankly I wanted to be relieved of stress on it, and I thought that the A lot of the people were being needy little bitches who complain about every little thing and make mountains out of molehills. And blah, I don't like it. I don't want to talk about it. So I ain't been talking about it. And I ain't going to talk about it here. So if I make a video on that, it's probably going to be just nothing but praise. And then I'll admit that I'm at least a little bit biased because I'm sick of so many people bitching about minor issues with the game. But also, I think Warhammer 3 is fucking phenomenal. And once they release the rest of the content, once they pour it over the stuff from Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2, it's just going to be the best strategy game of all time. Flatly. Don't at me. Or, matter of fact, do at me because I will beat you because it is the best. Motherfuckers can step up to get chopped down. Either which way. Pink, what you been up to? Oh, wait, hang on. We need to talk about what's been on the group channel this past week, or this coming week. Oh, no. My
Yeah.
words, they're getting in front of each other. Addy, quickly, save me.
Right, so what's coming out on the group channel is Hitman 2. That's it. One episode of
All
Hitman
right.
2.
Yeah. Right then, Pink, what have you been up to with your week?
All right, what have I done this week? What have I done? Oh, first off, I went and caved, got WWE 2K22. Initially, I was not going to. I was thoroughly expecting the game to be a dumpster fire once again. But the early release date came. It went. I got it the night of because I'd been looking into all the footage online, everybody that was playing it, all the influencers and YouTubers out there had more or less just praise for the massive step up from 2K20, and I thought, hey, it doesn't look bad, and I've got nothing better to do as I'm sitting at home with like a TV and my single Xbox and nothing else here. I might as well go ahead and splurge and get it and test it out for myself. So I did, and yeah, very fun game. I was pleasantly surprised, thankfully. Um it's got a lot of quirks to it. It's not a fantastic game by any means. To me, it's very reminiscent of 2K14 in both the good and bad. The gameplay, they've stepped away almost entirely from the simulation style. It's very, very fast paced now. Matches are frenetic from the get go, and they don't stop until the final pinfall. One thing that I really take a lot of issue with is that because they've introduced this faster gameplay, the opponents, and that includes yourself, the characters in the game do not stay down long whatsoever. You can hit like a 25 finishers on one single person. They'll be up in about 6 seconds, give or take. It's probably the most unpleasant part of the game. The referee AI, it's also terrible because there will be several instances where I've Irish whipped my opponent into the ropes. They will rebound off the ropes as they do, and what happens? The referee decides to attempt the infamous Marcus Corvon pounce on them, and instead just falls over. The opponent falls over, and you're just standing there wondering why you didn't get to deliver your back body drop, and the referee has ruined your golden moment. You know, the crowd's booing, children are crying. It's a terrible time.
Means it's coming out from the back to fire you.
Vince is walking out from Gorilla. He's climbing into the ring. His quads have given out again. Now we're all sitting there in confusion once more.
His quads just explode with such force they propel him into the ring.
He does the sing. He does the
ragdoll physics all the way.
He does the Sin Cara entrance, but he doesn't need the trampoline.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, the game has a lot of unfortunate quirks to it, but overall, it was actually very good the first couple of days I was playing it. I really enjoyed my time with it. I played through My Rise, which is their new career mode, and spoiler alert, I never play the career modes, but I actually spent a decent amount of time in this one. It was very fun. After the first initial couple of hours, though, it does get to be kind of grindy and no longer as fun as it used to be. Because we'll call it a tutorial section. It's not an actual tutorial. It's just the fact that as every year, they have you start off in the performance center, and then you work your matches in there, and then you eventually get called up. The performance center is such a drag because it's your character, and they got like 3 other generic CAW jobbers that aren't really CAWs because they're actually in-game models, but you know how that is.
Yeah, and Tyler Breeze.
So it just feels, yeah, it feels like an empty void when you're starting off because you're facing the same 2 or 3 opponents over and over and over again, and you're like, okay, this is a fun game. I like the gameplay, but even if you're to play a Shawn Michaels versus Randy Savage match over and over and over again, you're eventually going to get tired of it because the movesets are the same. Nothing different is going on. It's just the same thing over and over again. No, that's not good. So their performance center section is way too long to be forgivable. That's a big no-no right there. Worst part of their little My Rise mode by far.
You just foiled their plan. They wanted to do a Shawn Michaels versus Randy Savage showcase next year.
That's got to be pretty tough because, to my knowledge, I don't think they ever actually face each other. I could be wrong.
Didn't they have what ifs in the old ones? I think.
New generation. They're both part of the new generation.
Wasn't
No, Mox was definitely the oldest part of the new
commentary
generation.
at that time? Yeah.
He got to wrestle every now and then, but that was definitely at the point where Vince was trying as hard as possible to get him out of the ring.
Yeah. It's like, I know it's feasible that the match could have happened. I don't know that it ever did, though, at any point in time in their careers. I will definitely have to check that, though, because that actually has me curious.
That probably would have, at the very least, been around the time that he spent so much time wrestling Crush.
Yeah. Big fan of Crush. Oh, yeah. Googling Shawn Michaels Randy Savage actually does pop up a result of Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels from the official WWE channel, so I'm gonna assume that legit happened. That's pretty wild, I'm gonna give it a quick sneaky peek here as I continue my thoughts. Universe got no changes, got shoved off to the side once more, and that's unfortunate because that is by far their best mode in the game. Thank you, THQ, for all your contributions to this society.
Thank you, THQ, for your sacrifice.
Thank you, THQ, for your sacrifice. It was not in vain. You pumped out the best wrestling game ever, and then you died. My GM, that was the other thing. That is quite simply a very, very, very bare bones adaptation, and I'm not a big fan. I enjoyed what little I played of it, and their shortest timeline is like 15 weeks, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. I probably am, though. It's something short like that, though. And what little they have is fairly coherent, but it is severely lacking in almost every regard. So it's a fun little time waster, and it's fun to book your show and have Dexter Loomis as your top guy because for some reason he's just putting on these fantastic matches with Cesaro. And yeah, that kind of nonsense is very fun. But aside from that, by no means do I think this is the return to glory that everybody and their mother who wanted a GM mode back is expecting or wanting. It's
not 2006 GM
decent
mode.
Yeah, it's a decent remaster of the GM mode, but it's by no means would I say it's great.
I mean, let's be real though.
Let's see.
Could we expect anything actually good out of 2K? Because I don't think so.
I'm sure they've done something good in their lifetime. I just am at a loss as to what it could have been.
Well, they probably
Bioshock
have some
1,
good
like
dev teams under them. That's the
Absolutely.
thing. Because Bioshock was not 2K, it was
BioWare, wasn't it?
No,
No, not
it was not
BioWare.
BioWare.
Who am I thinking of? Because I'm thinking of a dev team. I don't remember their name. Shit.
Hang on, I am looking it up by the there's probably a more efficient way of doing it. It is okay, well the Steam page says 2K Boston, so there was my first mistake going into the Steam page instead of just looking up on Wikipedia. What kind of news article is that? The first news headline Google brings up: the actress who plays Elizabeth in Bioshock Infinite is gorgeous. Why is that news? All right. Let's see. Oh, Irrational Games only made Infinite. Oh wait, Irrational Game. Okay, Irrational Games was
The wiki article I'm seeing here.
so they were renamed to 2K Boston and 2K Australia in 2007. Released Bioshock 1 under that name. Then in 2010 they returned to being Irrational, and then they were dropped Bioshock Infinite.
That's confusing.
They were founded by former
You
employees
could
of Looking Glass Studios.
you could even say it's irrational.
Meh. And then after they were done with Bioshock, a lot of the big guys went on to make Ghost Story games. So yes, 2K did not really make Bioshock, and as a matter of fact, given the multiple rebrandings and company changes, it sounds like they probably dicked the Bioshock devs around quite a bit.
Yeah.
I am
So,
shocked.
Probably
so, so,
standard practice
shocked.
there.
so has 2K done anything good?
Shocked. I would have to. I don't think 2K develops anything themselves. I think they just publish because the sports games are not developed in house at 2K. They're developed by Visual Concepts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, Rockstar is Rockstar. They do their thing. Fire Axis is Fire Axis. They do Civ on their own. And XCOM. They also do XCOM. The Mafia guys. Who makes Mafia? Who develops Mafia?
Good question.
Hangar 13.
Aha.
Wait, Hangar 13 only made Mafia 3 and the Mafia 1 remaster. Hang on. Mafia 1 was made by Illusion Softworks. Mafia
I don't think
2.
I've ever heard of them.
I think I've
Okay,
heard of
Mafia
them.
2 apparently was made technically in-house by 2K Czech,
Ah, yeah.
as in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
I was about to ask.
And let's see. Czech. Okay, again, 2K was trying to just rename everybody. Czech is actually just Illusion Softworks and then
Oh.
Hangar.
Ah.
So again, 2K was like, well, now that you're a 2K company, we're going to rename you to 2K whatever. And then afterwards, you're like,
2K
fuck it.
location.
Yeah, there you go. Because that always works. Well,
Yeah,
I think
they
honestly, I think
yeah.
the plan with a lot of that stuff, like 2K doing that, Rockstar having Rockstar San Diego, Rockstar London, Rockstar whatever. I think the scheme with a lot of that is you're hoping one of those teams will produce a masterpiece, and then fans will get confused and buy the games from the other developers because they think that it's the same developer.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I love Red Dead Redemption and I love Bully. I cannot, for the life of me, ever remember which Rockstar teams made Red Dead and Bully and which ones made Grand Theft Auto, because I don't love Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, until recently, you could discern it with does this team have the Housers? But now not even that is actually a thing.
Housers, I think. Hang on, I think the Housers made Red Dead Redemption 1 and Bully. They were part of that. Okay, so San Diego worked on the Red Deads, and in terms of just themselves doing it, that's pretty well. They made Midnight Club, but who cares about Midnight Club? Oh,
What is Midnight
Rockstar
Club?
Rockstar San Diego also worked on back in the day Echo, The Tides of Time.
Ah. Oh, not even the original one, but the
Dolphin?
sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, Echo the Dolphin sequel.
Oh man.
Okay, Rockstar North.
That's the
It
GTA
looks
team,
like
I think.
yeah, GTA and Manhunt. Okay, well I could just point to them as the part of Rockstar I don't like.
Yeah.
Thanks. Fuck those guys. Now, which Rockstar team was it that made Bully? I'm looking that up right now. Oh damn it! I just absentmindedly put Bully into Wikipedia and it brought up the Wikipedia page for bullying.
Huh.
There we go. Okay, here we go. Rockstar Vancouver. And let's see, the Hauser brothers still wrote Bully.
Which is why Micah is in it.
Well, I mean, hang on. Like yeah, I that's. I'm going to check just to be certain that the Hausers also wrote Redemption 1. Yes, Dan Hauser. The Hausers also worked on Red Dead Redemption 1. So their batting record is inconsistent. The one thing that is consistent is that they adore the obvious traitor trope.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rockstar Vancouver has only worked on Bully. They are a supporting team for Max Payne 3. That was apparently the last thing they did. They apparently still exist. They just haven't done anything in 10 years.
Nice. They're getting paid
That's
to not
awkward.
wrestle. They're getting paid to not wrestle.
Hang on, I think they still legally exist, but yeah, there we go. They still legally exist, but all their employees either got fired or moved to other Rockstar studios. There you go.
That makes sense.
Huh. They may also have made. Wait a second. Is that right?
That's right. We lost him.
They initially did a lot of work on the original version of Counter-Strike.
Ah.
Game dev history is weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean, of course, with Rockstar, the
We
always
should know.
classic
We
weird.
played Game Dev Tycoon.
That, well, that's all the experience you need. You're ready now.
We're ready for the big time.
Oh man, that reminds me of there's a very silly complaint I saw for Total War, the Total War Warhammer thing that's been going on. Total War Warhammer 3 came out this year, 2022, and someone was made a silly comparison of like, look how good work these modders did compared to the shit that Creative Assembly gave us in Warhammer 3. And there was a follow-up thread saying that's not a fair comparison at all. Modders are working in a very different environment than developers and have very different expectations. And someone responded, "Oh, modding's easy. I modded Medieval 2 15 years ago. It was easy then." 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Fixing cars is easy. I once screwed in a valve on a Model T.
No. Fixing cars is easy. I once nailed back the wooden wheel back to a cart being held by a horse.
Yeah.
It's fine. I can fix your Murcielago.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
easy. I know how to microwave a kid's meal or whatever.
I know how to microwave in sentence.
The first part got cut off, so I just imagine becoming a superhero is easy. I own a microwave.
Yeah. I'll just give you cancer. Imagine a supervillain whose gimmick is he bombs places just by leaving microwaves with metal in them and then turn them on.
No. He drops off microwaves that have been modified to work without the freaking the door on, and then he turns them on and leaves.
Well, God, there'd be metal somewhere in the room, so it'd be still the same effect.
Basically.
But yeah, Pink, you're weak. I'm not asking about your weak. I'm telling you, you are weak.
My knees
And
are
he's
weak.
turning into an anime villain.
And whatever else Eminem said in that one song.
Oh yeah, these weak arms are heavy.
Spaghetti.
No, Mackay Pfeiffer.
He's got them food stamps. No, my typers. Is it typers? Because that's a weird way to say that.
Doesn't even know his own daughter.
Between being a prima donna and between being an otter and a prima donna or something like that.
Quickly, we must move from this
Whatever.
topic.
Anyway, yeah, Pink.
Yeah, I don't know the Eminem song well at all. Final closing notes on 2K, because I want to mention the character models and how up to date and how out of date some of them are. I would like to note real quick that a lot of the legends got a facelift, which hallelujah, it's needed that for quite some time. Kevin Nash actually looks like Kevin Nash did back in '96 this year, instead of looking like old man Kevin Nash. So I'm grateful for that.
Like old man Kevin Nash. He looks like Clay Putty.
But yeah, his mustache casually melting into his lips.
That's what the K is short for. Clay Putty Nash.
Yeah.
Clay Putty Evan Nash.
Wait a second. Hang on. Nash. Well, you mean K is short for? Wouldn't that mean Clay Putty Evan Nash?
Yeah.
Anyways. Pink, how is that combo system?
I
thought that looked stupid, but at the same time I was interested.
It's actually not as terrible as I thought it was, because when I initially saw that they were, I posted that image in the Discord, I thought that was legit the only control scheme you had. It still very much operates on the old school SmackDown versus Raw system of you have the option of entering a grapple state, and then you have your directional pad and a corresponding button, and that will do your grapple moves as it used to in the past. The combo system is just an added element of, you know how there were the combo attacks? I don't know if that sounds right. Combo attacks where you just hit the strike button over and over, and it would have your character do like 3 punches, and then the final attack that would usually stun your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that, except now they, instead of ending every combo attack with a punch or a drop kick or a salvat, it is now, hit a corresponding button or do the corresponding attacks in this order, and then you'll actually be able to hit another attack or grapple of some sort. So it's actually kind of intuitive. I thought I was going to hate it. I thought the entire control scheme was going to be very much like that old WWE Fire game where you have to, or even the very old SmackDown games where you got to do inputs in order to hit a Michinoku driver, and the inputs were universal. So I was like, oh dear God, please no. But no, it's actually just kind of a different system to add more grapples and attacks into your repertoire. So I actually thought they implemented it very well. It seems flawlessly into the gameplay that they have already. And
And
if
for
you
people
want
who
to
come in,
completely ignore the combo system they have,
you can't.
go ahead and
Okay.
finish
I was just going to say, and
your
for casual
thought.
players coming in, they think it's perfectly natural to chain attacks into grapples. So for them, it's just like, oh, well, yeah, of course you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just smack the triangle button. Well, not triangle. Smack the A button a couple times and then hit your grapple button, and he does a grapple like, one would think he would. So it works out perfectly. I thought that was by far the greatest change they made to the game. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's just kind of there and it feels natural, so I gotta applaud them on that. I thought I was gonna hate it, but I don't, so that's cool.
I mean, wrestlers,
Um, what was
for
I
some wrestlers, it can
mentioning?
be natural
What's
because
that?
it's not a very common thing for a wrestler to, slap a guy with a couple punches before throwing a suplex. But there's been a few examples of wrestlers doing things like that.
Yeah, what I was saying this year is it feels the gameplay feels very indie shoot punch kick wrestler like Davey Richards or Ricochet. In that if you're doing the combo attacks and grapples, it's very much the punch kick and then hit a hurricane run out of nowhere. So
Yeah,
for those kinds of wrestlers, it actually looks very great. For some
I mean, even
people, like if you're playing as Diesel,
It
no.
it looks kind of funny when he does a Hurricane Rana.
yes, it does. I was actually going to bring up an example that popped in my mind of an older wrestler doing that. Actually, was Hogan would throw a couple punches and then an eye rake, right?
Yeah.
So for some of the older wrestlers, it does work. It's just, and it's not going to work for all older wrestlers, and it ain't going to work for all modern wrestlers either.
Yep.
I
But
think I do
like
I
I
do
was
think
saying
it's an
earlier, you can
inconsistent.
actually just yeah,
Ignore
it's
it.
very interesting. And if you don't like it, you can outright ignore it. I don't recommend it, but you can.
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't have to actually use every system, and for some wrestlers to play them accurately, you have to ignore systems. It's like, well, Andre ain't going to the top fucking
Mhm.
rope.
Absolutely.
But then how will he do a one stomp? His patented move.
That that. Anyways, so I'm perfectly comfortable with 2K19 being the last simulation game. I thought 2K19 was good enough for
Yeah.
what it did, and I'm comfortable with the rest of the games going forward being a lot more experimental.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed the change this year, and I really enjoy the gameplay. So I was a happy camper. Uh, the final thing I want to note regarding the roster and attires is that this game is very obviously outdated.
I bet.
It's very evident that this took them 2 years to develop, and oh boy, the roster, just the fact that it took them so long to unveil the roster was like we were all like, yeah, there's probably gonna be quite a few guys on the roster that are no longer with the company. I had no idea that it would consist of like 45% of the roster because we got guys like my boy Arya. I probably wouldn't have bought the game if you weren't in. We got Murphy. We've got the Iconics. They were fired like 2 years ago. They're TNA tag champs right now. Uh, yeah, we got released wrestlers all over the place, and we got wrestlers who their attires are significantly outdated. Mandy Rose is wearing her tag team gimmick with Dana Brooke. They're not even a tag team and haven't been for years. Uh oh, who else was outdated? Let me flip this out and scroll through the roster. Shelton Benjamin, I don't think they actually even got him in his Hurt Business attire, but everyone else does. So that's odd. And then movesets real quick. I because they implemented their new combo system, I think they actually went through everyone's moveset and actually updated them, which was nice because I specifically went and checked on Ricochet because he was a DLC wrestler in 2K19. and they kind of
Yeah.
double dipped in that he came out on his own, and his moves were a part of the move pack. So
Yes.
if you wanted an accurate ricochet, you'd have to, do that yourself. And I was like,
Yeah, if you
oh,
want the
okay,
elevated
that's
flat
fine.
runner,
I'll
right?
fix that next year. Yep, yep. And I didn't like that they double dipped that year, but then getting 2K20 the next year and going into Ricochet's moveset, and you see he's got the exact same moveset from his downloadable content of the last year, which means he does have all his DLC moves in the game. It's just you have to reassign them yourself again. And I'm like,
Yep.
what's up with that?
The first thing I do anytime I open up any WWE game is go into movesets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I checked on Ricochet. They've actually got his up-to-date move set, and I was like, fantastic, because I don't want to spend another year trying to put all his DLC moves on there that haven't been DLC for 2 years now, and technically 3 if we're qualifying
3.
21. Yeah, 3 for that matter. Yeah, and though there were some odd omissions, Tony Storm, they have her kind of hip toss DDT thing in the game. It's not in her moveset at all. You actually have to go set that as her finish if you wanted her to do that. So that was. There are a lot of strange things like that where the out of date stuff kind of drips in, where people have very accurate move sets for a specific period of time, but then they also have their mo-capped moves in the game that they are doing now, but haven't been implemented into the moveset, so that was kind of weird.
And of course, there's instances of them
Sure.
having just included like the old model of Nikki Cross because Nikki Ash happened during development.
Yeah, and the strange thing is they've tried to hide a lot of those models that were supposed to be either in the game at one point and then got taken out, or were in development during 2K21's life cycle, and then 2K21 became 2K22, so they just had to scrap those models, but they're still very much in the game, and you can actually download them on community creations because somebody went and hacked them into the game, and it's great.
Meh.
So yeah, you can play as Nikki Cross and Dominic Dijakovic, and it's awesome. It's
You
not intended, but
do you think they hid the model because they figured people would be upset if Nikki Cross of all people got 2 character slots?
I I don't I don't think so. I think this is more a WWE decision of, they have
That
final say on who all
yeah,
makes the cut, and
someone
yeah, it's been
backstage,
reported multiple times that. Go ahead, go ahead.
someone backstage deeply in love with the Nikki Ash gimmick.
Right, that's what I was saying, because it's been reported in the past, if I'm not mistaken, that Vince is a big stickler for if you change a gimmick, your previous character is more or less dead. That's why we never got Cody Rhodes and Stardust, because, well, if Cody's Stardust, you can't have Cody in the game because that breaks the illusion. So, can't have
So if
those
Vin-
two in the same game at one time.
so if someone actually showed Vince one of these games, Vince would just go into conniptions.
Yeah, yeah, he would. You don't think he wouldn't?
Because I mean, there's a like you can play as Brian Danielson in 2K19, not Daniel
Uh
Bryan, Brian
huh.
Danielson.
Shoot name Brian Danielson.
Uh, yeah, that 100% makes sense. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody tell Vince that you can play all 4 faces of Foley in some of the games.
In No Mercy.
Right.
He'll recall all copies.
Right.
It'll be like George Lucas. He'll hunt down every copy that someone owns with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough 2K for today because I've already eaten up quite a bit of time here. Let's move on to the final things I did this week, which was I played a lot of Fallout New Vegas and a lot of Fallout 4. I was intending to finish Fallout 4 because I never actually have. I played it a lot way back in the day when it first released, and I just never got around to finishing it because I got sidetracked with a lot of side quests, and then I just got bored of the game because it's not a great Fallout game, but it is a pretty fun shooter. I was hoping I could just beeline to the very end and finish it up lickety split. That did not quite happen. So I'm still unfortunately in the trying to complete that game phase, and I had it crash on me a couple of times the other day, and I don't know why. I'm not playing with mods or anything. It just decided
That's
I
your problem.
shouldn't be playing that day arbitrarily, so I take my ball and go home then.
The game wouldn't
Yeah,
crash.
that's my problem.
The game wouldn't crash if you replaced all the power armors with Gundams.
This is true. This is probably true.
And Todd Howard put it in. It's just a simple check.
My fault for not playing the game the way Todd Howard wanted. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just simply
Todd
labeled
Howard.
like
Todd Howard wants you to
if
play.
Gundam no, then crash.
Yeah, Todd Howard wants you to play with all of the nudie mods. He wants you to know this.
Yeah. It just works.
Man, I'm on console. I don't think we get those.
Yeah.
We do. It's not.
Good
It's
lord,
like,
I just
aware of.
logged into
like
the
it's
forum and I got 9 notifications.
like it's not not actual nudie mods, but it's close enough. But yeah, for actual nudie mods, you need PC.
I imagine so. Um, I was attempting to finish up Fallout 4 as fast as possible. I was siding with the Railroad because they are the ones at the moment that I believe I had the highest affinity with during my playthrough all those years ago, because I already had the companion. I had most of their missions completed. So I was like, yeah, I'll do this. It'll be fast, it'll be quick, it'll be easy. It did go relatively fast, easy, and quick, but again, I was plagued with a lot of random crashes and just didn't feel like continuing to load up the game over and over again. So I just went back and played Fallout New Vegas, which is like one of my favorite games of all time, and I have been having a lot of fun with that. I
Not free of
want
crashes itself,
to
though.
do the house. I've actually not had any problems with New Vegas crashing, believe it or not. In the
Weird.
let me open up Steam real quick.
I literally
Yeah,
can't
it's
stop
been
my. I
very-
literally
oh.
can't start my copy of New Vegas. It just crashes on startup.
Nice. I had a similar experience with
That
3.
sucks. That sucks. Let's see. Fallout New Vegas is in the F category. 35 hours I've allegedly played this game, and I've only had it crash a grand total of once that I'm aware of.
Hey.
So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything else? No, those were the 3 major things I did this week. Not anything else to my recollection to speak of.
Hey.
Right. So, I don't know what to start with. So I guess I'll start with I don't know, because it could spiral. Whatever. I did finish the Captain America compilation. I read all of the comics in it. It was alright. My favorite story is still the one where Captain America tries not to get elected.
Yeah. I'm curious if Pink's heard of that one, because I've not heard of it. It's Captain America tries not to run for president, right?
Yeah.
I've actually not heard of that one. Sounds like something George Washington did once, though.
I mean, I can check who the writer was if you give me a sec. But yeah, it's a story where Cap saves a campaign office from terrorists, I think is what they call them, and then the campaign office just tells the world that Captain America is running for them, and Captain America spends the whole thing going, "Wait, no." He really doesn't want to run for president. He considers it once, but yeah. All right, I forget. Where do they say the
Hey,
writer?
correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, but didn't Cap get elected president in the Ultimate Universe?
Yeah. I think he was president when they killed Peter Parker, or shortly thereafter.
And Cap blamed himself for that, which is why he was such a pain in the ass for Miles.
Yeah.
And they leave it kind of ambiguous whether it was more so Punisher or Norman that killed Peter, right? Because Punisher shot him, but Norman put him
Right.
through the whole fight.
Right. Yeah.
So from
Yeah.
what I can
Ultimate.
tell, yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
wait, that's funny now that I think about it. Peter actually did get down, Mr. President, on Captain America.
Punisher said the N-word.
The Ultimate Frank probably would. That's one of those problems with the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe sometimes tries to be like a very accurate to the 616, but just focusing on them being younger. And there are some characters like Frank where it's just like they've entirely lost like the
The
story
point,
at all.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
Ultimate Deadpool's the other big one where it's just like this is not the character at all. This is just a different character bearing the same name.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So from what I can tell, the comics in this are from a series that were all of them were written by Roger Stern.
I know him.
But yeah, it
Personally?
would. Yes.
No, not personally. I tried to stalk him once, but then security found out.
But yeah, so it's apparently the whatever first run of Captain America probably issues 247 to 255 are the ones I've read.
Okay.
So yeah,
I do not know any of those stories.
I'm
Man,
trying.
Pink,
I'm, I'm,
I
yeah,
can hear the sounds of Pink going through his Rolodex right now.
yeah. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was just googling up Roger Stern Captain America, and it looks like he had John Byrne as the illustrator there, which is always a good time.
Yeah.
That certainly would have been post Secret Empire and post Nomad, right?
Yeah.
Because didn't they do Secret Empire pretty well like right after Watergate? It was pretty well just supposed to be the Marvel version of Watergate.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been curious about that. Me going through my own comics, I'm kind of like I'm wanting to skip ahead some. Like I'm going through the initial Kirby run of Fantastic Four, and I'll get to that in my own section. But I've been curious about what points should I skip to, and I'll probably be looking up and trying to skip to Secret Empire because that seems like an important one.
No answer.
Any,
Fuck you, I guess.
I,
Anyway, yeah.
I was just, I was
I
just
thought you were gonna continue on with your story there.
no, I actually wasn't. I was trying to get out of the way so Addie could start talking again, but I guess I did leave it a bit ambiguous. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was all right. Like it was nice to actually see characterization of Captain America aside from his shield.
Yeah. Cap is one of those characters. The movies have done a really good job of making people understand that Cap isn't just America Man. But
Yeah. Yeah.
prior to the movies, Cap was definitely one of those guys who people outside of the comics did not ever really get a good idea of who he was. Superman, honestly, is in the same spot for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing about Captain America is how he is pretty much always sleep deprived. And I
Yes.
said this last week as well, but that sells him to me.
Captain America is a busy man. Captain America is probably the hardest working hero in Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what the other story was. He went to England to kill a vampire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn Nazi vampires!
I
Not
was
again.
I was going to tell you who the vampire was, but I don't remember the name, so my brain defaulted to Vampiro. He went to London to kill Vampiro.
Hell no. Not Vampiro.
Why is Vampiro in England?
Dude sucks.
I won't question why Captain America decided to attack Vampiro, but why is he in England?
Because
That's a good
because Union
question
Jack
there.
called upon him to help with Vampiro.
Eh. Union Jack, the shittier Captain Britain.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that like arc was how they kept building up this thing of freaking I forget his names, but the first Union Jack, his grandson, he needs to grow up and become the new Union Jack, the third generation, and they keep building it up and building it up
Yeah.
and building it up, and it was a red herring because his friend becomes the new Union Jack instead.
Meh.
Like the best part of that though is that the friend only appears for like 3 panels where he starts shit talking Captain America and Captain America tells him to fuck off, and that's it.
You know, it just occurred to me there are 3 Marvel heroes wearing the British flag.
Inspirational. Who's the third one?
Lionheart, the former Captain Britain number 2.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'd forgotten about her.
I feel like Marvel could probably at some point do something with Captain Britain, but yeah, for several decades now, Captain Britain has just been an X-Men side character. The important part is he's Betsy's brother.
Right.
I mean, even with fucking Union Jack, who seems to be second fiddle to Captain Britain, like even with Union Jack, they were like, Captain America knows this guy because they work together in a team called the Invaders, and the Invaders consisted of Bucky, Captain America, and all of these other people that you see on screen right now. They don't get a name.
Well, Namor you're expected to recognize just off his looks. The original Human Torch, that one's a silly one to expect people to recognize. Just off the look.
I don't think they had the original Human Torch on screen because they had instead they had Firestarter or something like that, the Union Jack's daughter.
What?
Yeah.
The original Human Torch killed Hitler.
I don't remember if he was in that panel, but I know that there was a Human Torch like female figure who was called something like Firestarter, who was Union Jack's
Spitfire.
baby her. Yeah. I don't know the fucking
And
Yeah.
I want to say Spitfire was actually the romantic interest of a Union Jack, not the daughter, but I can't be certain on that.
I think she was supposed to be the daughter because they shared a name and her name changed after she married. So I'm assuming it was his daughter.
Hang on, something just occurred to me.
Yeah.
If the original Human Torch killed Hitler, how could Hitler also be the hate monger?
Multiverse.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Okay. That kind of explains how she got her powers. I forgot about this. Yeah, she got injured the Vampiro sucked her blood, and then the first Human Torch gave her some of his blood, which was robot fire blood, and that's how she got fire powers.
Just shoot some fire into her veins. Now she's a fire person. Okay.
Yeah, but because she wasn't born a fire android, her powers waned with time. That's an actual thing. That's an actual plot point in this arc, by the way.
I guess because her heart is pumping regular human blood and not robot blood. Did you stick oil in her?
I don't know. Maybe.
Good for the soul.
Yeah. Spitfire lost her powers because she didn't have radioactive spider blood in her veins.
They stick some oil in her veins, and suddenly she's saying, like, you know what? Actually, I think Ultron's not that bad of a dude.
Ultron didn't exist yet. Hank didn't have the time.
Oh wait, the 40s. You're saying it happened in the 40s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, Ultron didn't exist yet. Actually,
Um,
come to think of it,
yeah,
uh, the original Human Torch's body was recycled to make Vision, which means there still would be a connection to Ultron there. She'd be like blood siblings with Vision, who is the son of Ultron. So by blood sibling connection, then Ultron would still be her stepdad, her half dad. I don't know.
It gets confusing there, but they're related somehow.
yeah,
Dude, that whole family tree gets to be a real mess when you think about the fact that so Viz got with Wanda, right? So that means there's an overlap between the Ultron and Maximoff family trees. Further than that, you can consider Hank Pym to be Ultron's dad, right? And
yeah.
there's all that stuff with the Ant-Man
Right.
and Wasp generations there, and all that. And Polaris got with Havoc at one point, right? Which means the
Right.
Maximoffs are connected to the Summers. And then an alternate universe
And that's
version
just
of Rachel,
asking for trouble.
and an alternate universe version of Rachel Summers got with Franklin Richards. And all I'm saying is Bush did 9/11. There you go.
Yeah. Didn't take long for that family tree to get complicated.
Yeah, that's a spaghetti tree because we're not even discussing other relationships going on there. The Summers family in particular is one where it's like, oh god, where,
I
do, where does where does X
Stop right
Man
now.
fit in that
Stop
one
right now.
again?
I love drawing out my family scribble.
Yeah, your family not
Yeah.
your family steel wool.
Shit. So yeah, that's Captain America for me. What else did I do? Well, as W has seen and Pink may have, I'm not sure, but I did try out a new freaking shading method. I still need to figure out some parts, but hey, it did get us. Well, I was going to post this on the 25th, but I guess I'll post it now into art. I guess I don't know. Yeah, it did get us this.
Art.
God,
Oh lordy.
oh my god.
There you go. For maximum effect. I can't. Apparently, I cannot write on Discord and have it not break. Cool. All right, am I back?
What yo?
Kirby normally says Poyo in a playful mode. Poyo! This Kirby, he says Poyo. Yeah,
Like a sumo right before screaming right before a match.
yeah, that's his PI.
Yeah.
So Pink, what do you think about this new Kirby power-up that he unveiled for Secret Land or whatever the fuck?
It's incredible. His muscles look like bubbles. You can see the bulge.
Which bulge? Because depending on where you're seeing a bulge, that may just be his legs, honestly.
Okay.
But yeah. So after that one, I revisited an older drawing of W's actually.
Oh no, that's
But
not a good start.
but this time I figured, hey, I could try combining because I realized that like I looked at that I have a big fuck off poster of all of the Avengers that I got with these comic compilations. For some reason they just gave it with the comic compilation. So hey, but yeah, so I have this poster and I looked at that and I was like, what am I doing wrong? Because the shading didn't look like quite right the way I did it on Kirby. So I was like, what did I do wrong? And then I fucking realized they're using 3 or 4 layers of shading depending on the character. Like there's this sort of shading. There's the sort of shading that I usually use. There's line shading, and some of the characters have another ink shading freaking thing that I would put on a separate layer myself. So that's
Yeah.
how it comes out to 4.
Penciling and inking are different jobs in comics, and coloring.
Yeah. But yeah, so with that in mind, I tried to do it with 2 because I didn't feel like it. I'm not good at line shading, so I didn't even try to attempt. But hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Is that Waluigi's face on the orbs?
no,
Oh. Is Zenyatta wearing socks?
not particularly.
Actually, it does look like socks from far away. If you can't
Yeah,
see the
that's
toes.
yeah, that's I copied how like usually when I do this drawing of yours when I try to attempt it freaking when I try to do my own take previously, I didn't copy your style for the toes. But this time I attempted to do it, and for whatever reason, you made like the heel of Zenyatta golden, but and his toes as well. And I'm not sure why, but I went okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do feel
yeah.
like I remember Zenyatta's heel as being golden, but I feel like I remember it being disconnected, though I'm sure I didn't draw it like that because I was rushing.
Yeah, I mean this drawing took me 3 days.
Oh well, it took
Yeah,
took took me 3 minutes to fart on a piece of paper, so
it wasn't 3 complete days. It was 1 day for the base shading, or this the
no, I thought you were
whatchamacallit.
working 24 hours. I thought you worked 72 straight hours on a drawing.
Yeah, I mean,
Slaving over the easel.
I mean, genuinely speaking, it was something like 3.5 hours.
When you finally finished it, you just looked to the skies and screamed, "It is done!" And then you fell
Yeah.
out of your chair and slept for 48 hours.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think this turned out better than the previous attempts with the shading.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The big thing, that one of the things that makes it look good in my opinion, but one of the things that I won't be able to always apply is what's the word? Oh shit, the radial lightning, like the lighting. The the
Radio
freaking
lightning.
yeah, the fucking rolling thunder.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lighting, like interacting with the sides, because usually when I draw things, I imagine the source of light being from an angle where it wouldn't be able to shine on the sides as well. Because usually when edge lighting like that happens, I'll keep saying, like, talking around this specific thing that is the name of this lighting type that I'm talking about, because I don't fucking remember it. But yeah. Like usually when edge lighting like that happens, it's because something is being freaking like shown from the backside. At least from what I understand.
No shit.
And
I don't
so,
know anything.
Pink, any thoughts?
Well, I really like the way the metal looks. You did very good with the coloring.
Thank you.
I like your fancy words, artist man.
Yeah, I noticed that for whatever reason, they shaded Hulk's skin like this. And that was my inspiration for trying to shade like this.
Actually, come to think of it, I need to step out real quick.
All right.
Oh. Right.
So, let's see. Did I do anything else? Well, remember the Sonic drawing that made you uncomfortable?
Vividly.
All right. I'll put it in the recording so people don't get notified aside from us. But I may have tried to make a freaking I may have tried to make an HDR render of it. I called this like I don't usually talk about
What
the
reason?
because that drawing is literally the first drawing I've made since we started, like, since y'all agreed to freaking draw with me.
Yeah.
Like, the story of this drawing is that it was supposed to be part of um the thumbnail for the first Sonic Adventure part. So I wanted it to be scary. I wanted it to be, like, unsettling. And obviously I couldn't do it with no fucking experience in art, but I'm getting there. And that's bad
Yeah.
because I'm using my powers for evil. But yeah, I called, like, I don't usually talk about what I name these files because who gives a shit. I called this one the Forbidden Sonic.
That is very much forbidden. Put it back.
I'm gonna wait for W to come back and then I'll remove it.
He's coming back to that. That is quite a sight to behold.
Yeah. So what do you think about that one? That was before I figured out to
It
actually do
looks
the
like artwork from like the late 90s, early 2000s video game covers, like something you'd see on the back of a package.
yeah. Yeah, like the way I do the like tone shading, I guess. I don't know what to call it. Like, the shading that makes the metal look nice on Zenyatta. This is
Yeah.
how I see it. And then I turn it down.
I see.
For the Sonic, I just didn't turn it down because I was like, you know what, this works. This is fine.
Yeah. Can't deny that. I'd like to.
Baraka.
So W, look in the text.
Baraka.
No, I saw it.
So what
I
do you
meant
think?
what I said, and I said what I meant.
No, you cut off. I didn't hear all of what you said. I don't think.
Pink did. So
All
clearly
right.
you're just not listening, prick.
Yeah, that's the secret. I only listen to what Pink says to me.
Or me. You missed both of us. What's wrong with you?
So yeah, should I delete the Sonic?
It's in a tab that only the three of us can see. I think you're safe.
Oh no, I'm asking if Pink is unsettled by, or like freaking what's the word?
Just not
if it's
looking
bad.
at. He can just not look.
I mean, yeah, but it's gonna be there next time we use that tab.
I don't use that
It's
tab
gonna be a
very
jump
much.
scare next time I open up the tab.
Yeah,
But
you got nothing to be ashamed of, Addy. You shouldn't worry so much about deleting that stuff. Just as long as you aren't taking pictures of your dick. That I prefer that you not post it in the first place. But if you are going to post it, I prefer you delete it.
oh yeah, I'll get real drunk because that's the thing I'm most known for. And then I'll post a picture of my dick with a ruler, so y'all know how fucked you are.
Put the ruler way closer to the camera than the dick.
Yeah, and then also freaking like make it at an angle so it looks bigger.
And then suddenly release a very racist comic about Mexicans.
No, I need to do that before, like a couple years before, so then I can try to scrub the internet in vain and then put them back up anyway, or whatever happened with that.
Right. You just need to make sure it resurfaces now.
Yeah.
Then announce you're leaving our channel because you want to take up solo streaming.
Yeah.
Pink and I will be forced to work with an obese pedophile.
So Mike?
That doesn't sound fun.
That was just unnecessary.
Like Mike is only obese, to be fair. And I don't even know that for sure.
Obese? You gotta be careful here on the internet. People don't know when we're bullshitting about stuff like that. To be fair, Mike does have several videos of himself on his channel, so there is proof that Mike is not obese out there, I guess.
But yeah. Then I guess I did also remake the fuck word. Quickly the cue cards.
Cue cards, cue cards.
I burned them a week ago.
Line.
Anarchy reigns.
You burned them when I wasn't here to stop you. Unbelievable, the madman.
You should have made extra copies. That perhaps would have been prudent.
But yeah, I did remake the Dark Skater thing that I drew last week. I think I don't remember. Like I just
Dark Skater or Dog Skater?
Dog Skater.
I was about to say that's a funny looking duck.
Yeah, I tried to add the background and also do it with the proper multi-layered shading thing. I don't know if it works.
Looks great.
All right, thank you. So I guess the issue might have been with the other one that the shading was too soft, which would make sense.
I didn't really notice a problem with the shading. The only real issue I had with it was the shirt folds the shirt wrinkles looked odd.
I mean, do they still look? Yeah.
And they're definitely a lot less noticeable now, I think.
That's weird.
Like it still kind of looks like a morel mushroom, I think is what I'm thinking of. But it's definitely a lot less noticeable now, yeah. The lighter shading on it, I think having lighter shading on clothing wrinkles is a smart choice. I think it looks better that way.
Yeah. There's still the fact that you do have room to learn in how clothes would fold and wrinkle and crease and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because the center of his torso probably wouldn't cause any wrinkles like that. But as you draw more and study clothes more, you'll get the hang of it.
Yeah. Did I draw anything else? I don't think I did. So, for video games, let's see. Well, I got my birthday presents early because if I don't get them early, then I don't get them at all. But with how we are, but yeah. So I got my birthday presents, and I got I don't know why I'm worrying about fucking listing of games. What the fuck? Anyway,
just say they got you assless chaps, man. Have no shame.
Yeah, my family got me premium dragon dildo and also furry shades of gay.
Furry shades.
That's an actual game on Steam.
I remember you.
I'm not surprised about that.
Holy shit, the wind is picking up out here.
But yeah, so yeah, I got
boys, I may have to podcast from the stratosphere.
All right, nice.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
I can see your house from here.
Creepy.
It's not any creepier than when he shows up in the middle of the night. I don't know how he does it.
No, that's only for you, Eddie. That's only for you.
Yeah.
I'm stealing your sandwiches.
Oh no.
I want pastrami next time.
So yeah, I got all of the Naruto games because sometimes I feel like actually playing 4. Only 4, but you know.
Nah.
It was on sale. I think it was how much actually was it? It was like maybe $5 or $10 at most for like all 4 games and DLC. So I was like, It's genuinely cheaper than buying 4 alone with all of the DLC.
Ah,
So yeah, I got that one. I got Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, which now means that I nearly have all of the freaking the Power Stones.
Yeah. The gauntlet is nearly complete.
Yeah.
When it's done, you can snap and return the Assassin's Creed series to what you want it to be.
No, when it's done, I can snap and Eve Guillermo ceases existing.
Yeah. But you won't be as gentle as Thanos. Eves won't just like ash away. No, he'll just explode violently. He'll have the fucking Johnny Depp blood volcano thing from Nightmare on Elm Street done to him. He just gets sucked into the floor.
and then all the blood guys there's out, you just hear the like I'm forgetting the actual breed of the bird that makes the sound when you do the leap of faith. It's not an eagle. But yeah.
And all the women in the office would just go, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, we have been saved. Bobby Free Elf.
Gentlemen, we can finally finish Beyond Good and Evil 2. Praise the Lord.
Genuinely, I just need to buy Origins and Freedom Cry, and I will own all of the mainline Assassin's Creed games on PlayStation.
Oof.
Well, I guess not one, but one's not
Keep
playable.
that login information.
Yeah. Like I guess not one, but one is not playable on modern console. One is not playable on PlayStation. It is playable on Xbox, and I own it there. So hey, whatever.
Who fucking cares about Assassin's Creed 1?
Yeah.
That wasn't on PlayStation?
Well, no, it was. It's just not playable on PlayStation 4 because it was only it was on PS3.
Ah.
So unless they remaster it or remake it, then it's not playable on PS4 and 5. And the funny thing, I've seen people.
They announced
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they announced an AC1 remaster?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like a remake, I can understand, but I've seen so many people recently being like, "Man, I wish they remastered AC1. Like not a full remake. They specified that they want at least a remaster, so they just do an uplift of the fucking graphics, and then it's just the same game. Why would anybody spend money? Like, why would anybody spend more than $10 on Assassin's Creed 1 in this day and age?
That's a good question right there.
Like, I could actually argue about the value in playing Assassin's Creed 1, but I would not tell anybody to get into the series through it. And the only reason I would freaking recommend anybody go back to actually play it is just to see like the building blocks of the lore. That's it. Because the gameplay,
you can get all the value of Assassin's Creed 1 through 2 cutscenes.
There's a bit more to it, but technically you could just watch Assassin's Creed 1 and just not talk about your opinions on the gameplay.
Yeah.
So yeah. That I also got Katamari Damacy.
All right.
And this is the first time I'm playing the game because the game was not sold in Europe. Only in Europe.
Really?
Yeah. At least from what I remember.
What do you think of it so far?
I've seen it a lot, so it's not really surprising anymore. But yeah,
but Katamari is one game where it's very different once you get your hands on the controls.
Yeah. The controls...
It does not control like a normal game.
It felt more or less natural to me, honestly. Like, I'm not good at it, but it makes sense for the most part. The only problem... Yeah, go ahead.
Practice pays for a lot in that game. You just gotta get used to a lot of the how it feels.
My problem isn't like going around. My problem is being stuck in one place, picking up small things instead of actually like traversing the levels and picking up big things. Like I want to clear out an area before I move into the next one, but that doesn't work in time.
Well, here's the trick: if you build up a dash, you can knock a big thing over and pick it up before you're technically supposed to.
Ah.
Yeah.
Every time I tried that, it
Obviously,
didn't work. But yeah, I
well, you need
believe
to
you.
get the proper build up, and it's not too crazy. It's really important for animals. Once if you're about the same size as an animal or a little bit smaller than it, then you're definitely going to need to knock it over first. Same for people. But once you get to a certain size, obviously, you don't have to bother with doing that anymore.
Yeah. Have you seen Katamari Damacy?
I don't know what that is.
All right. So what I'm hearing is that we need to do a bizarre adventure with the three of us, and then somehow I will need to wire your sound so Pink can hear you are smart and get his brain rotted.
Maybe a single session.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anything else?
And then what else? I also I picked up Jedi Fallen Order. That's the name. Yeah.
All right, you were just talking about how you don't like Souls-likes.
Yeah. So I don't know where to begin, honestly. I played the game on story mode because fuck this Souls-like bullshit. If you give me an option to ignore your RPG, I will. Honestly, I may go back later and replay through the new game plus on normal, just to see how it was supposed to be. But I was satisfied. Honestly, there were some parts to the combat system that I didn't mind, and there were parts that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Have you seen how they do the soul system?
No.
So, how the game works is you build up experience by fighting people. If you die before leveling up, then you lose the experience. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. The experience doesn't actually do anything. I don't remember if it does anything in Souls, but the experience can be used to fill up your meter in Neo. So my thing is my I guess my base thoughts on that sort of stuff is I need to level it out so I always have meter, because meter can be useful so I won't die. But if I use whatever the item is to get experience to build the meter, then if I die, then I lose the experience. That's another thing of how the game handles its economy. In this game,
Weird. I'll just
it's
get this
go
in
ahead.
real quick. In Dark Souls, you can only spend souls either to level up or at the shop you can spend it on items, which of course you don't lose those items when you die.
Yeah. But yeah, with that sort of stuff, I'm just why even bother? Like, when it shows the money, it makes more sense. But in this game, it's literally just if you die, then you lose experience. If you go and pick it up, then you get back that experience that you lost. It doesn't really make a lot of difference to me.
Well, to be perfectly frank, I think that with Souls, it doesn't really make that much of a difference because what you just learn is spend all your money before you go and play a level.
Yeah. And then what else? The combat system varied between actually having good fights and then 5 million people shooting you with machine guns and grenades, and then people going.
Well, it is Star Wars.
Yeah, and the people going know you, which that was the most annoying, because that was fine with the enemies being able to parry and shit, because that makes it that made for some actually pretty good duels I've had with there's both normal I don't know if they're normal stormtroopers, but there's normal troopers and also I forget their name, the black troopers, the what they're called, the not plague troopers, it's something like that.
Shock. There were shock troopers, wasn't there?
Yeah, it may be them too, and there's other one that's like Reaper Trooper or something stupid like that. That also wears all black. But yeah, the shock troopers, I think, and some normal troopers can have these two-sided shock sticks that they do Darth Maul shit with. And I had a couple of good matches against those guys. because they would like I would parry their attack, they would parry mine, and we had a good back and forth. It was actually fun. And another guy would come around with a gun, and it would not be fun anymore. And then also the
Parry this.
yeah, but there's another thing that I
I
disliked
want to
about.
step out real quick.
All right, another thing that I disliked about the combat mechanic is that hits felt too bouncy. Like Pink, you like Star Wars.
Yeah.
You hit someone with a lightsaber. What happens?
Lightsaber usually goes through them.
Okay, in this game, you hit someone with a lightsaber. That shit bounces off of their fucking helmet or whatever it hits. Like it's a thing where like they can parry you. That makes sense. You can hit them and then it bounces off, and that feels bad to me. And then when you kill
Yeah.
them, they get cut in half like they're supposed to, and that doesn't make sense to me. Like
Right.
like I'm not the biggest Star Wars nerd, but I know enough about Star Wars just through the zeitgeist, and
Yeah.
that doesn't check out with how lightsabers are supposed to work, as far as I know.
Nope.
There's also the thing of the game has 3 styles technically. I mean, it's 2, and then one of them is relegated to one button, but technically it's 3 styles. You get a one-handed lightsaber. You get the upgraded version of that lightsaber, which is just attaching a second one to the underside, like just taping it. Or no, it's welding it on. He welds it on. So you get the big dart.
It.
You get the big Dartmoor saber, and then once you're done with like 75% of the story, you get the ability to actually take them apart. And I was like, man, I'm so fucking ready to dual wield lightsabers, because I spent the whole game being like, having one lightsaber is cool, and having the Dartmoor saber is also cool. But what would be even cooler is having 2 lightsabers at the same time, like Starkiller. And the game is like, hey, you can now dual wield lightsabers. It's one attack. There's one attack in both styles, both one-handed and two-handed, where he takes them apart, does 2 swings with it, and then puts them back together, or switches one of them off.
I see.
That was a disappointment, to say the least.
Underwhelming, yeah.
There's also the thing of the crystals. Like I don't Pink. Was it always a thing that the lightsaber crystal chose the person who wields it? Because that's just, to me, that's just Harry Potter bullshit.
Yeah, that's extended universe lore, and I'm not an expert on that, but I think it might be. I think they are accurate in portraying how that is supposed to work, but I think it's complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, you know what? Like my favorite part of episode 4 is when Luke goes into the caverns in, I forget the name of the planet, but he goes into the caverns in the ice biome, and then he does all of this parkour bullshit to get to a crystal, so that Obi-Wan can hand him Anakin's saber, because it won't work if he doesn't have that crystal that chose him.
Yeah.
Like, there's a thing of like it's I'm questioning the consistency, I guess, is the best way to put it, because if it's decreed by the Force that the crystal chooses the wielder, then Luke should not be able to use Anakin's saber, because the
Yeah.
crystal chose Anakin. So, yeah. Like I'm sure there's at least a lore nerd for Star Wars big enough to be able to wave this away with some sort of like, once in this napkin that I drew explained exactly. But like, this napkin that George Lucas sneezed in once contains all of the information regarding the Force. But yeah, the game also seems to be set between episode 3 and 4, because people don't speak about Luke, but Vader is already Vader. So like But
See,
my favorite part of the game was when he showed up and then did a moonsault, and then Vader bombed Cal.
oh man,
Now I kind of wish that he actually did that in one of the movies.
would have been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and how would a powerbomb with the Force look like?
Awkward,
Probably.
probably.
Yeah. But yeah, so thoughts escape me. There is a disturbance in the Force. Oh, yeah. By the way, the name of the protagonist is Kat Kestis, which doesn't seem like a real name enough. It doesn't fit in my disbelief because it doesn't sound like an actual word being cut up into 3 pieces.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Like there's a guy whose name is just Saw. That's the type of Star Wars name that I expect.
Yeah, that's understandable and reasonable.
But yeah, what else can I really point out about that game? Well, the traversal is alright. It's nothing to write home about particularly. Like a lot of this game just felt like it felt like it is a bad way to put it. But I spent all of this game going like, man, I wish I was playing a Starkiller. Not because I particularly loved his character more so than Cal. Neither of them have an actual character for the most part. But Starkiller Starkiller had a thing that set him apart. While in this game, it just feels like you are spending the game trying to get to a point where you actually play like a Jedi.
Aha.
Because like one of the that's actually a good, funny thing. So a lot of the Jedi powers that you have, you unlock through story parts, except for throwing the lightsaber. For that, you need to wait until like the end part of the game, and then you can spend points to unlock it. Because throwing lightsaber is hard to figure out, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, the hard part probably is manipulating the lightsaber with the Force to make it come back and all that.
But yeah, but in theory, all of the shit that we do, Cal already knew. He just forgot.
Nah.
Like that's one part that I didn't like because I like going into this completely blind. I thought the story was going to be, Cal Kestis, like nobody scrapper dude in the middle of nowhere, some backwater planet, gets killed or gets his friend killed because people think he's a Jedi, or like he accidentally awakens the Force in himself, even though he didn't know how didn't know that he was Force sensitive, and then he becomes a Jedi. No, it's Cal Kestis already was a Jedi from birth, and then he just and then the Order 66 happened, and so now his quest is to reestablish the Jedi Order. It only took him 20 years. Yeah.
A task which you will inevitably fail at because isn't Fallen Order set around the time of New Hope?
I think it's set between episodes 3 and 4. I'm not sure because Luke is not talked about at all, but Vader is Vader. So
Yeah, and I mean, if he was a teenager when Order 66 happened, right?
Cal,
Yeah.
maybe like judging from the player model between 10 and 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, for him to be a young man still. I mean, Obi-Wan was probably 30 or 40 at the time of Revenge of the Sith, and by the time of New Hope, he's 60. So it must be a difference of about 20 to 30 years between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. And if the kid was 10 to 12 at the time of Revenge of the Sith, that would logically make him in his 30s or 40s at the time of New Hope, right?
I guess so, and he is in his 20s in this game from the looks of it, like mid 20s.
Okay, so he's probably somewhere in that awkward period where it's still Vader hunting down a lot of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Huh, all right.
But yeah, you missed it. There's one big, very disappointing part where you have two weapon styles. You can have a one-handed lightsaber, or you can have the Darth Maul saber. which probably has an actual name. I just never bothered to learn it. It's the utmost saber, and that's it. And then you get a third style on paper, but eventually you unlock the option to have both of them dual wielded, but only for one move in each style. They make this whole big deal about, hey, you can now fucking take the sabers apart and use them, and then it's one move where he takes them apart, does 2 slashes, and puts them back together, or turns one of them off and puts it away.
Yeah.
And that was so disappointing to me, because I spent this whole game being like, man, I wish I was playing a Star Killer.
No, you don't. You want his moves, but you don't want to play a Star Killer.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I don't like Cal's character anymore. Neither of them particularly have a character from what I remember. Like Cal's character is, I have PTSD, and then we don't elaborate on this. Like
Sure, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not as edgy as Starkiller is.
But yeah, but I don't care about edge. I can work with some edge. Like I don't remember how edgy Starkiller is, to be frank, but you know, all I remember is she was real to me. That's the only, or something like that. He said at one point in the second game, and that's all I remember about Starkiller's character. But yeah, freaking, like, you know, if neither of these characters are going to be fun to actually play as, or, you know, be interesting as characters, then I want the moveset to at least be fun. And a lot of this game to me felt like you're going through the game to unlock actually being able to play as a base Jedi. Like, you you play the game to unlock the state at which you start KOTOR in.
I mean, considering that, you know, KOTOR is supposed to be set in a time where the Jedi Order still exists, whereas Fallen Order is literally set at a time where the Order has fallen, I think it's more understandable for it to be more about going from hobo with a lightsaber to actual Jedi over the course of the game. Whereas if you end up as, like, surpassing Vader and Luke, I'd call a little more bullshit, right?
I mean, I don't even I don't even mean that I want them. I want freaking Cal to bring down a Star Destroyer or whatever Starkiller did. I remember that. Like, I'm not saying that's stupid bullshit. I'm just saying, hey, I would have liked a bit more, like, variety in what Cal actually does as a Jedi, than just, hey, I do Jedi things. Like, here's the basic Jedi codex. I follow it to the letter.
Yeah.
Because, like, technically, I guess there is a bit of difference in that he uses a double bladed lightsaber, but at the same time, that's a thing that he picked up from his mentor. Like, it's literally his mentor's lightsaber. So I don't know if it. I don't think that counts. I think that he does separately, like, differently. But yeah. And then what else? Oh yeah, the movement. I was talking about the movement. It's all right. Like, some of these, it's fine for the most part. There's a lot of wall running, and some climbing. A lot of like, climbing puzzles would have been made easier by having the levitate option. Yeah, I guess so. I guess a lot of my problems with it is just that, like, I played the Force Unleashed, and I still want the Force Unleashed 3. So I'm like, hey, Jedi can do this, and this. Like, you know, this is within the realm of possibility. They don't all need to do this.
Yeah.
They don't all need to do this, but some things, you know, teetering on the edge of similar things could be fun.
I think there's just, like, a little bit of a difference there, just in terms of, like, what people can want, right? Because to me, the idea of playing, like, a hobo learning to be a Jedi in the period where Jedi are hunted down sounds like a really cool idea for a game. But it certainly is not going to let you do the crazy stuff that Force Awakens does, because Force Awakens is playing pretty well Jedi or Sith at their height, one-man armies, you know?
Yeah.
And if that's what you're looking for, then yeah, I don't think Fallen Order. Like, you can't please both bases at once.
Yeah. And then, oh yeah, the one thing that they do. Okay, and I remembered what sets Cal apart. Yeah. So W, do you remember Amrita Memories from Neo?
Amrita Memories?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
So what Amrita Memories was or is, I don't remember if it's in 2, is you would go up to a corpse and the corpse would be shining. You press and hold the button, and then the shiny flies into you, and then you can hear their less thoughts as they died.
Yeah.
Cal's force power that sets him apart is that he has Amrita Memories.
Is there something that sets him apart? It's almost just kind of like an extension of Force Ghosts, really.
No, it's really lame. And only like a negative thing that ever freaking like happens to him in the story. But you know that sets him apart, I guess.
Well, because he's getting PTSD by proxy, right? Because he's absorbing the PTSD of other people.
Well, that too, yes, but also well, I suppose yeah, that's the best way to put it, because there's this one point where there's a character who is related to another character who is on Cal's side, and the character gives their weapon to Cal, and Cal just has a breakdown because it's not yeah.
That could be really interesting. I think that could be really interesting.
It could be, but they play around with it so too much. It's not the actual like the Amrita Memories part, because that's underplayed when it comes to the story. It's only there to explain why they wanted to put Amrita Memories into the gameplay side, and that's lame. But
yeah,
but that character who is bad, by the way, that character spends too much time being 5 steps before Cal for it to work for me, at least. Because pretty well the whole game is trying to outplay that character, and then surprise they weren't the freaking mastermind with a tank. But yeah, there is one bit that I really liked though, which is when Vader appears in the game. Vader is in the game for 5 minutes, if even that, not even that, like 3 minutes. He appears once in the middle of the game where one of the supporting characters says that Vader tortured them by calling him the Man in Black. That's it. They never actually call him by name. But it's I don't. Yeah.
That does make sense, because they wouldn't, like, early on they wouldn't know that they had called him Darth Vader. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then.
And under the mask, they wouldn't know that's Anakin.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, I mean, they probably knew that Anakin betrayed them, but why would Palpatine announce, "Hey, you guys, remember that Anakin dude?
Look what I
an
got."
Iron Man suit."
But then after that, and this is spoilers for the ending of the game, sort of. I'm not actually talking about the ending, but it's leading up to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But near the end of the game, Vader appears. And usually when you're like, either because you have a robot on you, the robot either analyzes the enemies after you kill them or while fighting. And it can pop up things like, hey, I updated the database, here's how you beat it, and if you open it up, it tells you like this sort of creature utilizes heavy attacks that are easily parryable. Use your lightsaber attack to do this and that, and then you kill them easily. So Vader appears on screen. A pop-up happens. You open it up, it says fucking run.
Yeah. What happens if you do try to attack Vader?
You die. He chokes you out.
What? Oh, he just chokes you out. I think it'd be awesome if that Vader just like had a special parry he'd do for any attack you throw at him.
That's what he does.
It's just an instant kill parry.
Well, no, sadly it's not an instant kill parry. Instead, what they did is that you can't leave the room until you try to attack Vader. So you try to attack Vader. No matter what you do, he parries it, and then he puts you into force choke. And yeah. And then Cal says harder daddy, and Vader throws him out. That's how you live.
Yeah. I like that they stick with the whole idea of Vader probably being the best duelist in the Star Wars world.
Yeah, I really liked how they handled Vader. Like out of all of the out of all of the things that I wasn't the biggest fan of, that was great. I also really liked the one of the supporting characters who like it has a proper name, but I could never actually remember his name. So I went with something that sounds really close for his full name, because I remember that he's called Grease, but his full name was something like Grease These Nuts.
What'd you call me?
But yeah, that guy is great. He's just like Grease like
Grease Dritus.
yeah. The only reason that he's in here is just because we can't use Han Solo. Kind of. He works. Like he's a very like tropey character. He's not particularly original, but he works, and that's good enough. The only other Jedi in the game, because there's, funnily enough, even though you're the last Jedi, there's 2 Jedi in the game. But that's not counting the ghost of your master who tries to kill you multiple times. But there are many Jedi in this game about the last Jedi, huh? Anyway.
Obi-Wan is still alive at that point, mind.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
There are several Jedi that are able to get away from Order 66. If memory serves, Shakti was able to get away, I want to say.
Oh yeah, I also liked how one of the, because you have these constant flashbacks to Cal's childhood, because that's how you unlock your old actual Force moves, and like wall running and shit. And in the last one, they legit just have you walk up to the mentor, and then the mentor talks to you in the background, and not even particularly in the background, just right next to him. The stormtrooper pulls up his hand. Palpatine shows up. He goes, "Execute Order 66," and goes away. And then the guy just points the gun at your mentor's head and shoots him.
Wow, that quickly, huh? He doesn't even deflect the bolt?
Oh no, he does deflect the ball. You're right.
Okay. That did happen to several of the Jedi on screen, so it wouldn't be too much of a shock, but...
Yeah.
So yeah, the game is alright. I will probably play through it again, because I didn't hate the Souls part enough for me to freaking get a bad taste in my mouth, more or less.
Yeah.
And the story was alright. It was like it's this weird thing where I don't like the main character or his characterization. I like the supporting characters though. It's the fucking Naruto complex.
Nah.
Like I like everyone, pretty much everyone who is an actual character, aside from two. There's 2 people I don't like. There's a guy named Saw. You help him help the Wookiees, and turns out he's evil. Well, no, he's not evil. He's just an asshole.
Saw Gerrera, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that an established Star Wars character?
I have no clue, but it is him.
Let's see. Yeah, Saw Gerrera. Yes, Saw Gerrera is Forrest Whitaker's character from Rogue One.
Ah. So yeah, he just shows up, or you rather you show up to his fight, and he's like, "Hey, help free the Wookiees." So you help free the Wookiees. Then you leave, and then you come back, and he's left the Wookiees to die.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera is kind of a dick in Rogue One as well.
So yeah, I didn't like him because he was an asshole, and I also don't particularly like Cal. Like everybody else does their job well enough, but there was something about Cal where the way he was characterized. Like there's one scene where he gets his crystal, which, by the way, I've discussed this with Pink and why I think it's dumb. But has it been like a long established thing that the crystals choose the user? Because that's dumb. Lightsaber crystals, I mean.
I have no earthly clue. The trouble is that on some level you'd think of the crystals as technology, but if they are like imbued with, why would actually come to think of it, they aren't imbued with the force, are they?
No, they're just crystals, from what I
Okay,
can
because
tell.
the force is alive, and the force is technically in everything, or at least it's supposed to be. The midichlorians, something or other.
The
Uh,
powerhouse of the Force.
I think it's silly to have the crystal choose,
Yeah,
but I
that to me seems like something that like they read Harry Potter and then put it in.
yeah. The thing that I would think of is most Star Wars side material, for whatever reason, really only thinks about the movies. There are some cases where they're nerdy enough to be like, "Hey, here's Kyle Katarn, everybody." But for most part, they only consider the movies. The movies never really discuss the crystals. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember if the movies ever even show the crystals that are inside the lightsabers.
Nope.
So I'm sure that Clone Wars or Rebel has at some point said shown a crystal and not had it choose somebody. And Clone Wars and Rebel are being taken very seriously by Jon Favreau and what's his face, the guy who's working with Jon Favreau on everything Star Wars nowadays. But Fallen Order would have been made at a point in time where it would have still been, let's build up the sequel movies. And so Clone Wars and Rebels would not have been that high of a priority because that guy was not in charge yet. So they probably only gave a fuck about the movies.
But yeah, because that seems like a dumb thing. That also like that's the thing that I brought up to Pink. Like, you know what? How does Luke use Anakin's saber then? Because the crystal chose Anakin. You know, like
And
it's
then the saber again chooses Rey because of course it does.
yeah. Like I'm fine with that plot point if it actually makes sense in the lore. Because like Harry Potter, like I brought it up multiple times. Harry Potter does this with the wands. The wands don't work if someone steals your wand. It won't work. From what I remember, like it will fire spells, but maybe at you.
Yeah.
That was how Voldemort died, wasn't it? He did something with the Master Wand and he just nuked himself. But anyways, Pink, you may remember better than I do. Actually, in Force Awakens, doesn't Luke's saber actually, or Luke or Anakin's, I don't remember which, saber actually called a Rey when they're at Maz's bar?
Yeah.
So that it is canon in the sequel movies. And Fallen Order, like I said, would have been largely developed during the time where they were trying to, make the sequels not a trash fire. So they probably did that to tie in a little bit with Force Awakens, presenting the idea that the saber chooses the person. Which, of course, is silly because the prequels and the original trilogy never suggested that idea. But far be it from any of us to suggest that the sequel movies may have perhaps had some bad ideas.
Yeah, but yeah. So the scene that made me dislike Cal in this game is he goes and gets his crystal, and then it breaks in his hand, giving him two smaller crystals that he can put in both of his lightsabers that he broke instead of the one. but but the crystal breaks in his hand because it doesn't like him anymore, and he just has this like I don't. It's a very childish outburst that like you know. If it was a different character whose main characteristic wasn't PTSD, or if it was, something that actually set it off, like if it was something that was built up to that this is the last thing that his hope is hinging on, or whatever, then I would have been fine with it. But because it's just like freaking the PTSD is like he broke his lightsabers because of PTSD, and like he was offered another one, and he's using it after that, but the crystal breaking for whatever reason is bad. Like the game didn't give enough context for me to actually like feel with Kyle. Most of the time, it was just Kyle feels bad. Clap.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
So yeah, I did that, and then I also got Biomutant.
I heard Soon was hyped up for that one.
So Biomutant can be summarized in many ways. I could summarize Biomutant in many ways. It's Fallout. It's Fallout. If instead of being a first-person shooter, if it was a third-person action, like stylish hero action game, it's I don't like it. It's an episode of Postman Pat. If Postman Pat Izuna dropped everyone while the narrator goes, "Oh no!" in a fursuit, mind you, he's doing this in a fursuit.
The narrator or Postman Pete?
Both.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it as a joke. Technically, the narrator easily revealed at the end of the game, so he is an Anthro, so it works. But yeah, so I wasn't sure what to expect of this game, and that's partially why I put it off, because it's been on sale a lot of times, but it's only been on sale for like $30 instead of 10. And I don't like taking gambles that are that big, because I don't really get to choose out of games, or I don't get to buy a lot of games, so I tend to be more conscious with what I spend my money on, which is why I spent the last like 2 years rebuying my old games from the Xbox that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took a gamble on this game. I budgeted out myself in just the right way, so that if I like the game, I can also buy the one DLC it has, which is the pre-order DLC that they made available later. And the pre-order DLC wasn't anything great, it was just like another class. But still. I played the game for half an hour, bought the DLC. Because it's like the best way I could put it, and I guess that's under summary, is Biomutant in a lot of ways feels like what the new age Assassin's Creeds are trying to go for, but it does it better. Because it has like original thoughts of its own, or at least executions that aren't like shit completely. Like it's not a 10 out of 10 game. Don't get me wrong. Like it has a lot of issues. Like I didn't call it just Fallout because it's a post-apocalyptic game. It's about as stable as a Bethesda game. The game crashed on me 4 times.
That's not great.
But it is a consistent crash. Like I know what sets it off, and but I can't really do anything to fix it. It's at least not a thing of, the game just randomly decides to crash. The only times where it crashed on me were times when there were legitimately around 10 people, if not more, finding me. Most of them shooting, some of them using grenades, and there was a lot of particle effects on screen. I can understand why that crashed. So yeah. The game does have some, like, what's the word? It has some performance issues in that sometimes there's like a frame skip, but it seems to be mostly due to how, for one, I'm using a Slim PS4, and for two, the Slim PS4 can't handle all of the lighting, and also like depth of field and motion blur and screen shaking and shit like that. I turned that down, and the game has been running better. So I can, like, for one, the game has yet to crash since I turned it down. But, so it may just be a thing of the Slim PS4 is not able to handle this game because it came out last year, and it just tries to do too much at the same time, and because it's a AA game, the team just didn't have the budget to actually iron this kink out, or these kinks out.
Yeah.
They did seem to actually know about this though, because the game says every time you pick up any piece of loot, the game saves. This is on top of the game saving periodically, normally anyway, and the game saving whenever you encounter a new like settlement, or do a mission of any type, or do anything more or less. The game saves constantly, and I'm glad, because that means that even if the game crashes, you don't lose a lot of time. You only lose, like, I don't know, 3 minutes worth of progress at most.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then what else to say? I actually have some pictures, so you can visualize things while I talk about them, I guess.
All right.
But yeah, the game also has a photo mode, which every game has nowadays. I'm fine with that because sometimes I feel like doing video game photography. It's fun sometimes. I guess I'll put it into. Should I put it into gaming or pictures?
Good question. I think either is really fine, but I'd do gaming.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had three characters technically. One of them I started the game off. Didn't like how I set it up, so I started another. Paid to be part of the game. I wanted to do it with the DLC class, but the PlayStation had to be restarted before it realized that I actually bought the DLC, which wasn't fun. So I got 2/3 of the way through the game with that character, and then they got stun locked into hell, like literally hell. So yeah, because the game has these biomes where you need to have either through clothing or through genetics. You need to have a certain percentage you need to have some percentage of resistance to these biomes, or they will hurt you. And the higher the resistance, the slower it builds. The hurt builds. Now my issue was I went into a biome that was very hot with a character who was not built for that. And that meant that I could do the mission to the point where it would save, but not to the point where I could actually leave the place. So yeah, so that character is in hell, canonically, and this this is that character, I guess. I was like, hey, I took this picture being like, hey, I'm very close to finishing the game. This is how I'm gonna be like, hey, this is how my character looks, and then he died. He is dead.
Forever.
Rest in peace.
But yeah,
I like the tiger giraffe.
yeah, that's the sorts of mounts that you can get in the game. They are called like they're not a goblin. They're not a gnarf. They're a gnot.
Nice.
I really liked how this game has its own brand of baby speech, where it's it's tied to what things are called for real, or at least what they do. But it's also with like the game is quirky. The game is very quirky in like the mid 2000s way, and so there's a lot of things that they make their own words for. So the world seems more quirky, and it seems like the characters actually like made up their own language. Like moving from one place to another is just called zigzagging. I think microwaves are called zip zaps. I know for a fact.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know for a fact that the gun you start out with, the type like just normal pistols, because everything has its name and everything is in that language in the game. A normal pistol is just called a pew pew. Yeah. What else is there that's funny like that? There's only one thing that retains its name. A straight edge for a sword that is of a certain size is called a katana. Not the actual sword itself, just the edge. It's called a katana. Because fuck you. Out of all of the things to keep the real world name, that's the one. But yeah,
I like that. I think that's really fun. The trying to assemble a new language out of old stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah, I think computers are called like mind boxes, and trains are called trains are just called chugs. And the thing is, nobody in the game because the humans have left. This is a post-apocalyptic game. Humans are gone. Only the animal people, only the furries remain. The superior race. But yeah, so Nobody speaks human language. They all have their own, like they all use the made up animal language. So there's a narrator. The narrator speaks for everyone. So the narrator is constantly like doing his best David Attenborough impression or whatever. Like, he's doing the very basic, like what you'd expect a narrator to sound like voice, but also saying like, this chugyard was inhabited by many people who would zigzag all over the place. It's great, and the thing is, both the animals speaking gibberish and the narrator speaking are separate things. You can turn either off. If you don't want to hear the narrator, you can just tell him to shut up. Genuinely. And I like that. Like, I didn't turn him off because I liked him. He was too, like, I really liked how he complemented the game's aesthetic. So I kept him turned on for the most part. There was one part where I played the game, like, after this guy died, I speedran my way back to where I was. I turned him off for that part because I was listening to other stuff anyway, so he can take a break. It's fine. But yeah, the combat is interesting. Here's another picture. That I guess I use that for the combat. So the combat is set up so everybody knows Kung Fu because that shit's cool, more or less. Everybody knows Kung Fu. Most people don't use Kung Fu. Most people use like weapon-based Kung Fu, I guess. You can make you have 4 weapon types. You have one-handed slashing, two-handed slashing, dual-wielded slashing, crush. I think that those are the melee ones. And then you have gun, which is just pistols. Pistols are just called gun. I love that. But yeah, you have gun, you have shotgun, you have rifles, and you have assault rifles or automatic rifles. I forget what they call them. But yeah, those are your ranged options. And you can also dual wield pistols, by the way, which was rad. Like you can dual wield freaking katana and wakizashi, and also have dual wielded pistols, and basically just be like an action movie character from 2004, but also an intro at the same time. So yeah,
sounds like your game.
Yeah. And legitimately, like as you level up, you unlock these points that you can then turn into moves, as you would imagine. There's only limited pool of moves, where both like they're mostly on the same inputs, and then like they serve similar like uses usually. But legitimately, I saw that unarmed was an option, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. I've only tried the size that the rogue class starts out with. So I switched to unarmed, and then I had 1 point. So I'm like, I'm gonna unlock the basic like combo move that the unarmed thing gets. And it's like, jump up into the air and do an attack. I'm like, that sounds interesting. It's an Izuna drop. One of the first things you can unlock is an Izuna drop. And you can grab like these big like plant monsters, these big plant spider monsters who are 3 times the size of you. You can grab them and Izuna drop them. And they will hold their enemies around them. It's great. And the game is full of shit like this. Like it doesn't have the most robust fighting mechanic, but considering how everywhere I look I see souls, I'm fine with this. Like, it's like this, like I've said this a lot of times just today. But like, I'm fine with souls doing their own thing. I wish there was more variety. That's it.
All right. Right now you're missing out on it on the form of Solitude. Ted's elaborating on how he's not fine with it.
Yeah.
Something has jumped up his ass today. I don't know what's up. I'm trying to ignore him.
But like, I'm okay with Souls-like games coming out if games like these would also come out, more frequently instead of having to wait 4 years for one. Whereas Souls games seem to be coming out all the time right now. Or like, Souls likes rather. Important difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. And like the overall, like a lot of things, if not most things, like I really like this game. I think it's very good for what it is. Like it's obviously not it's not the most like well-crafted world ever lived in or whatever. But considering the constraints that this is a AA game, published by THQ Nordic, made by a company or development company that I have never heard of. Have you heard of Experiment 101? Because I have not. This may be their first game for all I know.
No, I don't. I've never heard of them. No.
And yeah, they're the devs of this game. Like considering that a no-name dev, as far as I can tell, made the game with the publisher being THQ Nordic, who will publish pretty much anything as long as actually that's the sentence. They will publish anything more or less.
Yes. And they'll do it on 8chan.
Yeah. So considering those things and how this is a small AA game that was just announced and then it came out and now it's here. It's very well put together. It's not particularly long. Like I beat the game in 9 hours, and that's short for an RPG. But I like that. Like I prefer shorter games because I'm more likely to go back to shorter games and then finish them again.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know why I started up 4 playthroughs of Persona and have not finished any but one, that's the reason. Because I like Persona 5. Don't get me wrong. I would like to revisit Persona 5, but there's this one small issue with Persona 5 where it's like 500 hours long.
Yep.
And then that's also similarly like what's going on with like people like okay. I was going to bring this up as an argument, like as a topic for the podcast overall, but I guess it can cut here. So I guess it is in a way a thing of because last week we I cannot form sentences today. I mean I did only sleep 4 hours for the record, but still. Yeah. So last week we did bring it up, but didn't delve too deep into it to actually discuss it. But how there's the argument going on between Elden Ring's design philosophy and Horizon's design philosophy, and I guess the thing that can come next to that, and what made me remember this, is the argument of time and value. So I guess the time to stop fucking saying jokey shit and actually do the sort of analytic stuff that we do on fighting games are. Kind of, not really, but yeah. But like, I guess, what are y'all's opinion on? I guess first let's start with the time-based one because that's shorter. I hope.
I've not been paying attention to the discourse because I'm just trying to kick back and relax lately.
Yeah.
And I don't need a bunch of people saying that they'll fucking kill each other over video games, Like, don't get me like, okay. My understanding is it's about accessibility, right? Because Horizon, they go to a lot of trouble to make the game as accessible as possible. Souls, they
we can hit that after. We can hit that after. It's fine. I'm talking about the argument that because I've seen it's reach that point as well, where people argue over value over time. So is there more value in a game that's 500 hours long rather than one that's 60?
Well, I guess it depends on what you spend those hours doing.
Yeah, that's my point as well. Like I think both of these things are very subjective, and there's no definite answer. Like both sides are right and wrong.
Yeah, it's obviously subjective because Fallout New Vegas can be done in like 2 hours. It's a very small game if you don't stop to do every side quest or do self exploration of the game. you know. The
If
main
you
quest line is actually super quick to go through. A lot of the companions are super quick to pick up. I mean, Arcade Ganon, you can grab him with the what's it called? Not Lady Killer, but Confirmed Bachelor. You can pick him up with Confirmed Bachelor. That's one of the very
and,
first perks you can pick up in the game at
and
all.
Confirmed Bachelor is one of the best perks in the game because it gives you 10% increased damage against men. And one of the game's four
Uh-huh.
major factions is made up of nothing but men.
Uh-huh.
Like
So
you can
pick that
speedrun New
bad boy
Vegas.
up.
Yeah, just go with Yes Man, kill Dr. House, run up to each faction of the game, shoot one of their guys, then run back to Yes Man and say, all right, let's wrap this shit up.
Uh-huh.
Do you even have to put in the silver token to get the super Securitrons on the Yes Man path?
You know what? I don't know, but maybe not. That might be another step you could skip entirely.
Because that would be absurd if you can skip having to get into the fort. Because that would be the biggest problem is just getting into the fort, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, if you manage to get that far in the game without pissing off Legion, Volpes and Culta gets you pass into the fort. So that part also can just go off without a hitch as long as you don't piss off the Legion, which I always make sure to piss off the Legion.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the specific requirements are, but I'm pretty sure just as soon as you take the platinum chip off of Benny, Volpes or the other one who usually appears because Volpes is usually dead, they'll always consistently pop up after you've exited the Lucky 38 to give you the little badge of "Please don't kill me. I'm going to see Caesar."
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, all you need to do to trigger that is kill Benny, take a platinum chip, enter the Lucky 38, exit, and then you're golden. So again, there are multiple steps that you could take to play the game how you're maybe supposed to play it, but you can absolutely just speedrun through.
Yeah. Elden Ring is the same way. Elden Ring, there are a couple chests you can find early in the game that teleport you to different areas. And there is one that I am not for certain, but I'm almost for certain that it teleports you straight to the final boss.
Ah, nice.
So it would be hard as hell to fight the final boss with a starter character. I'm sure some crazy person will do it. They'll either have to hit the boss 1,000 times or figure some exploit, but
But yeah, like because that's what it boils down to. Like here's like I am going to use my two proof points of reference. Like I will use Biomutant for how it is in a way done right, and I will use Assassin's Creed in a way that it's done wrong because they are like the new Assassin's Creed games to me. Like I use that as a basis for RPG games now because it's the lowest common denominator done wrong. Like it not only does it go
I love
for
the
what,
new Assassin's Creed.
and you're wrong, but like uh Odyssey specifically, but well, like you know, it's a thing where I can point to Odyssey personally because that's the one I have experience with. Apparently Valhalla is worse. I wouldn't know because I turned off the RPG parts of Valhalla, so I didn't have to bother with them. I spared myself. But yeah, so like Odyssey or Valhalla, maybe the worst case for Assassin's Creed here, where padding like there's instead of having actually meaningful side content and shit that you can interact with, and a story that you sort of care about, maybe sometimes, and stuff like that, and also a big world. Assassin's Creed or the newer Assassin's Creeds just try to cram in as much as possible so that it seems like the game is filled with content, and then also just pad out the story, especially in Valhalla, where to the point where you fucking forget what's going on unless you beat the game in a short burst of time, like I did. And I did that because I turned off the RPG part, so I didn't have to grind. So
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like those to me are not only like the lowest common denominator, but also just it's being done wrong. Because Witcher appeals to many people. It doesn't do anything like groundbreaking, but Witcher, as much as I don't like it, like, you know, it does what it sets out fine. It's not exceptional, but it does it fine. The Witcher 3. And then Assassin's Creed shows you all of these ideas and fucks them up so hard. But yeah. On the other side, with this game, like, when was the last time you heard me say, "Hey, I'm not gonna do the story mission. I'm gonna go to side missions because I want to see more of the wacky characters."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just getting distracted here.
All right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like you. I know that.
Yeah. And that's what happened in this game. Like, for my, like, I spent 9 hours on the first character, the one that died in the fire. I spent 9 hours getting to the to 2/3 of the game, and that's because for 1/3 of the game, I've completed all of the locations. I did all of the side missions that I found, which you had to stumble onto side missions, which I like. I did all of the side missions that I could find. I did whatever was in the way, and then after a while, I switched over to trying to get through the story because I wanted to talk about having finished the game on the podcast, and that's the only reason. Then, after that character died in a fire, I speedran the whole game because fuck, I wanted to talk about the ending of the story. And now the game gave me New Game Plus, and it was like, hey, because there. Okay, I'll come back to that. But whatever. New Game Plus, it was unlocked, so now I'm going to New Game Plus, actually, like, doing all of the objectives at a place and doing all of the side missions I can find and stuff like that. And the game actually interests me. Like, the world actually interests me. And it's really sad because I know that this game didn't sell well, and there's not gonna be a sequel. Like, there's no fucking way in hell that there's gonna be a Biomutant 2, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, but settled in a nice role of being a cult classic, which could get it a sequel 10 years from now.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be old 10 years from now. But yeah. And yeah, so like it may be only 9 hours, but that's 9 hours having done some exploration and then also having rushed through the story. And that's like, I appreciate that there's the option for that. The difficulty settings, I don't know what they do. They always seem like I can't even tell if they change the level scaling, which of course there's level scaling. There's one negative, I guess, that level scaling exists in the game. Enemies will never be under leveled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't actually tell what the difficulties do. Like the aggression of the AI seems to stay the same. I think it may just be the level scaling. So after a while, I just turned it to easy because I don't really care. Like, if the enemies take just as long to die, and I take just as much damage, and the only thing that changes is that I'm more likely to run into people that I don't have to do a Herculean task to actually beat, then I'm fine with playing the game on easy. And so yeah. Where was I going with that? There was a reason I brought up the difficulty. But why did I bring up the difficulty? Aside from discussing how weirdly defined it is, or whatever, like how I can't tell how it actually works. Whatever. This game also has an alignment setting, or an alignment system, I guess. So you can do or say certain things that are considered light or dark, and they affect how people perceive you in the world. It may also change the ending of the game, which I wouldn't know because I only beat it once. I will know next week. But yeah, there's some choices that will affect how people perceive you, and there's not only is it not only is it a thing where someone thanks you for saving them and you tell them to suck your dick, but someone thanks you someone thanks you for saving them. You tell them to suck your dick, and then a devil and an angel show up and have a back and forth. And then you can agree with one of them, and whoever you like, that also decides who you agree with more. Decides your alignment. Like despite being all about murdering everyone in this new game plus run, despite being all about murdering everyone and not showing any mercy, because I aligned myself with the people who want to unite all of the tribes without genocide, and because I keep not letting not saying that the dark side has the truth. I'm aligned as somewhat light. I don't know how that happened.
I do kind of like that angel and
That
devil on the
isn't
shoulders
true.
system. It's kind
Yeah.
of a ham-fisted way of doing it, but it does like represent how like a statement can mean several things, right?
Yeah. The whole game is in ways ham-fisted. Like it's kind of an aesthetic choice in my opinion. I don't know for certain, and I can't prove it to you, but I take it as an aesthetic choice because a lot of game is like the game is Peggy 12, which would be like, I don't remember what it would be on ESRB. Teen, I guess, T14. So like I take how the game is handled as like taking elements that would be in a children's show and then correcting them just enough to be appealing to edgy teens. So like the devil on the shoulder would obviously be there to explain morals to devil and the angel on the shoulder would be there to explain morals to smaller children, and they're still being used that way to explain things to the teens. But you don't want the teens to be thinking that they're actually learning shit. So instead, they argue a lot. But yeah, what else of particular note? There's an underwater section. There's one of the boss. Oh, by the way, Pink.
Oh no!
Pink, I killed you 4 times this week. All of the, all of the bosses of the game are called puffs. One of them is Hoof Puff. Another one is like Murky Puff. There's like a Fluffy Puff or something like that. Like genuinely, with the naming conventions of the game, I genuinely expected while it was explaining all of the puffs to me, I was genuinely expecting one of them to be Sparkle Puff, and I would have screenshotted it and sent it to you immediately. It would not be out of the ordinary for the naming convention of the characters. Oh yeah, I also like how one of the first characters you meet is called Out of Date, and then there's a flash that. Yeah, he's an old guy called out of date. And when you speak with him, there's a flashback to when you were a child. And you speak with him, and he's called Best Before. And the whole game is full of dumb shit like this. Like it's not like it's not serious high art, but I appreciate how dumb it is. Like I did not regret getting this game. And then I guess to close off on this topic, I have 2 more pictures. So after the first guy died in a fire, I went with the default character because I actually like their like it's designed. But it also sort of made it my own. So that's how this was the guy that I actually finished the game with. The last picture actually turned out good. Out of all of these, that's the only good picture, in my opinion. But yeah. So one thing.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I like that.
Thank you. So yeah, one thing that we need to discuss is the character creation, because there was a bit of I don't want to call it a controversy because it wasn't that big. It was like people were dissatisfied with the character creator, and I can share some of that disappointment, but it's alright-ish. Like the whole thing of the game is that none of the actual animals are actual or none of the intros or the animals or anything is the actual real animals. You can No, you can see what mutated. Like there's some animals where you can tell what mutated into them. I guess there is a guy who is legitimately just a seal. There is one of the bosses is just a turtle. And then what else? While it's not the actual like there is you get into the like 2/3 into the game you get a mount called a Mujut, and the Mujut doesn't look like anything. But then while in the quest to get that, you go and unlock another mount, which is called Mekamjut. Mekamjut is just a like steampunk horse. It's a steampunk mech horse.
Yeah.
So obviously the Mujuts are supposed to be horses. Very, very mutated horses, but that's kind of the name of the game. It's called Biomutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, I would have liked the character creator if you had more finer control over it, but I won't lose sleep over not having finer control. The weirdest part is that instead of like a list or whatever for the fur patterns, they still have the same like granular whatever, like the circle thing where you choose and it can change a lot because it's supposed to be like picking color or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still use that even though there's very defined edges to where one fur pattern ends and one where another begins. And one thing that I dislike about this design, and it is kind of the like it works. It not really works, not for me, but it makes sense logically why they went with it because other people have done similar things. Which is, I don't know if you notice it on the pictures of the first guy, because on the second guy I gave him a mask on purpose, and that's because all of the characters have an overbite with very visible teeth, and no matter which race you go with, the teeth never look good. Like there is a way that they could have made it make sense, and like be aesthetically fine. But I don't think they were able to achieve that because even in the art for the game, like the cover art of the game, the mouth of the character is obscured. So they knew that it looked bad, but they decided not to do anything against it because it's freaking big like Billy Bob teeth was all the rage in like fucking edgy teen comics. I guess I don't know. I remember seeing it a bit, but
There's something
not
wrong
that
with an
much.
overbite, motherfucker.
I mean, have you seen the first guy's overbite? Do you can you actually tell?
Have you seen mine?
Yes, you don't have a big overbite. Like technically, even I have an overbite because my mouth like sits weirdly normally. Yeah, I blame the Lego.
I'm going back to eating.
All right.
What?
You're all alone, Pink.
I'm so sad.
The transformation will now begin.
It's good.
I like how I spoke over W, so it just sounded like he made mouth noises and left. Anyway. So yeah. I don't know what else I could really discuss. Pink, do you have any questions about this game? So we give W time to eat.
I don't think I have any questions.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
come up with something.
What's the game world itself look like?
Pad for time.
Oh, the game world.
We've seen pictures, Alex. We've seen pictures.
Yeah, but the audience hasn't.
Yeah, 4 pictures. That'll tell me everything about the game world, won't it?
What more do you need?
Imagine you show somebody a picture of just New York and say that's the entire Marvel universe.
I thought you were going to say, imagine showing someone a picture of you. I thought you were going to say, imagine sending someone a picture of New York and going, this is America.
Yeah, that works too.
But yeah. So the game world of Biomutant is very, very vibrant colors. It's very colorful and high contrast. I had to fiddle around with the brightness settings setting on the game, so the whites wouldn't be blown out to the point where I would go blind. But and also to a point where the colors didn't look washed out, which was a balance to achieve, honestly. And it has an aesthetic that I don't mind. Oh yeah, traversal. I didn't talk about traversal. So obviously you have your mount, because I have it in both of these pictures. Then you also have double jumps. You have wall jumps, which the game never explains. It's just in the game. You're supposed to know, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the game has a very short tutorial section where it tells you how to move and how to shoot and how to hit. That's it. That's all you need to know. Everything else, you'll figure it out. If you don't figure it out, either the narrator or a pop-up will tell you eventually when you need it. But like, shit, we don't need to know now.
I like it. I like it.
And then aside from that, you have running, which I really like how the characters run on all fours. I don't know why, it's just so dumb. Like it makes sense, I guess, with how they're anthropomorphic animals that got mutated, but still, it's kind of dumb. But it's the sort of dumb that I like. Then you also have parkour. Like aside from platforming, which is more elaborate than parkour, I guess. Or it's not really parkour. It's scaling buildings or environments, I suppose, is a better way to put it. But you can scale environments just by using your normal platforming controls, because you have double jumps, wall jumps, and a glider. Yeah, there's a glider you can unlock. That works like the leaf from Wind Waker, from what I get. It's a bit worse, but it mostly works like the leaf. And then the climbing is you see a yellow dot on the side of a building, so you jump onto it. You immediately clip on, and then it's just it works like Ghost of Tsushima, but instead of Jin, like you didn't see Ghost of Tsushima pink, but in it, like, and you obviously didn't play it, but in it you can climb some rock
Infamous
rock
climbing,
sites.
infamous parkour. It works like Infamous.
Is Pink playing Infamous? I forget.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So imagine Infamous climbing, but instead of people jumping like actually realistic amounts, or like the characters jumping in realistic amounts, it's you point the stick towards one of the other climbing points, and your character zooms there immediately. Like he does a flip in the meantime, but you can't actually tell if he did it, because half of the jump is animation and half of it is ragdoll.
I couldn't tell you. Can't remember.
Well, I'm not talking about Infamous. I'm talking about this game. That's how this game handles it. Is that you point the left stick to the other.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, when you're clipped to the thing, you point the left stick towards another point that you can climb, and the character just immediately zooms there. And that's the thing with this game that, well, like, that's the thing that with this game that some people may not like, and I see it as a legitimate issue that some people may have, is that the game can be a bit too fast, as in the characters walk very fast, especially if you have upgraded agility, and yeah, that's about it. The characters walk very fast, like going from Jedi Fallen Order, where the characters move very realistically and shit. Like, it's very down to earth. This is how, if the lightsabers and shit existed, then this may be how they worked, or at least they did that college try on doing that. Not like I like how I pointed lightsabers after I just got done complaining about how lightsabers are unrealistic based on how they established them in other media, but like, the movement, the people in that game actually feel like people. They have their weight. They don't move too fast. They don't move particularly slow. They're okay. Cal can feel a bit slow, but that may just be because I'm expecting video game speed. This game is not video game speed. This game is Sonic doing a spin dash.
Nice.
Funnily enough, that's one of the nunchuck moves, that because you also have weapons. You have special tribe weapons where if you either beat them into submission or join them and beat other people into submission, you can unlock their weapons. And it's special weapons like a bow staff. You get a bow like that. You get what else? You get shuriken. You get nunchucks. And then you also get a hook. You get a scorpion hook to do combos with, to make your combos easier to flow into itself.
Nice.
Yeah. And one of the nunchucks moves, one of its combo moves is just a spin dash. Like you do normal hits with the nunchuck, and then you press triangle, and your character does a spin dash into the enemy. It's great.
Huh.
And then depending on like, I really like how a lot of this game's combat is set up, because it's very versatile. Like it's, if I remember correctly, while the game was being hyped up by the developers, they were saying, hey, we wanted something that feels a bit like Devil May Cry, but we obviously can do something as good. and
Huh.
and it feels like that. Like it's not as it's not as big, it's not as deep as Devil May Cry's combat mechanic, because you don't actually have like directional inputs and shit like that in the meantime. But for it being the combat mechanic of an open world RPG game, it's very on point. Like it's very fun. There is one bit that doesn't work about the combat mechanic, which is there's this super mode that you can enter, where you have like infinite ammo and shit for a bit of time. If you do enough combo moves to chain together, then you can enter the super combo mode where infinite ammo and you can do auras in theory and stuff like that. The problem is that half of the moves in that list that you can do in that super combo mode barely work. Like the auras,
Nah.
they work in the sense like they do damage and you can do them fine enough most of the time, but they feel disconnected from the rest of the combo system to me. And that's their big issue, is that the auras feel like don't feel like you do your combo and then you activate it and you just start hammering the guy. It feels like you do the combo, you cancel the combo with the activation, and then you get locked into this, and then you get locked into this state where you have to mesh square to do the combo, but the game doesn't convey the rhythm at which you want to mesh square to actually do the hitting the shit out of the guy. And if it doesn't work out, then the game doesn't know what to do. Sometimes. You know, it's a bit rough around the edges because they didn't have a lot of budget, I assume.
Yeah.
But it works. Like I've heard people say that they fell through the world. Thankfully, it hasn't happened to me yet. It has happened in games with a lot more budget than this. Let me tell you what. It happened in Jedi Fallen Order. I have it on video. That was funny. Anyway, yeah, the world design. It's fairly as I said, it's very colorful, but it's fairly distinct. Like there's because of these biomes, as I said, those biomes have their own color associated with them. Where if you go, you get a bit slight tint of that, as well as the environment. Like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the weather changing a bit around the environment and stuff like that. Like if you go into a cold zone, then snow is falling, even though it's just like a block that's in the cold zone, or that is the cold zone. In that block, there is constantly snow falling because it's the fucking nuclear apocalypse or whatever happened. I forget. Oh yeah, no, it's the story of the game. I have not discussed the story of the game at all. So there's two plots. One is,
I'm gonna step out real quick.
all right. You have been forsaken, Pink. How do you feel?
Again. Forsaken.
So yeah. The story runs on two plot lines. There's one where the disciples of your character's mother, who is the creator of Kung Fu, or you know, the new animal Kung Fu that they figured out. The disciples of her character's mother turned against each other, and now they're doing a tribe war. And you need to choose one of the tribes that you like the ideas of, and then carry them to victory. Now the thing is, there are 6 disciples, and you need to take 4 forts to defeat one disciple. So you'd imagine, hey, wouldn't doing like the pretty much the same mission 4 times, like 4 times 6 times, what is that? 24 times be exhausting and not fun? And yes, it would be, which is why after
Whole
the
thing. Yeah.
which is why after the third one, the game gives you the option to just call off the tribe war because all of the enemy tribes acknowledge that you have too big a dick and they can't beat you. So if you want, you can beat them into submission, or if you're doing doing a thing where you unite them, then you have the chance to go. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to do this tribe war stuff anymore. I just want the benefits, which are the weapons, and you can go and pick up the weapons if everyone joins you. So I like that. That they knew that, like, the thing is, I allied with a different tribe than I did in my first playthrough in the new game plus one, and I'm doing missions that are different, not all of them, but I'm doing different force taking missions than I did on the other side of the map, which is where the first faction was. So technically, there is varied content. They just let you choose to skip it because they don't want you to engage with something that you don't enjoy, aside from like necessary plot developments. Like, I appreciate that. And then the other storyline is that there's a big world tree, and the world tree's routes are being eaten by U-Ping.
I believe it.
All ends of it. And so you need to defeat the Puffs. All clones of Pink must die, so that the world tree can be saved.
No. You don't need the roll tree that badly. Come on now.
And then what else? Oh, there's a tertiary story, I guess, which isn't that active, which is why I forgot about it a bit. But there's also your mother's killer is let loose, or is loose, and you can find them. And if you want, you can kill them. Alternatively, you can let them live because they have their own sub story. And the whole game is written like it's I don't actually remember how well, I'm forgetting the name of the guy. He's actually super well known. How am I forgetting his name? Greek philosopher dude. Who am I
What
thinking of?
now?
Greek philosopher dude. Known for being annoying.
There are several.
Very, very regarded despite being annoying, I guess. That's not another way down at all.
Not really, and I'm kind of drawing a blank myself.
Hmm. There is a major like branch of philosophy that follows his way of thinking. I know that for sure. He's also like I guess this is a weird point of reference. He's the like sort of chubby guy with the big black beard in Odyssey, who only shows up to like be annoying and then save you from prison at once. Oh wait, you may not have played long enough to actually meet him. Shit.
No, I'm not that far. Not
I hate the padding.
Odyssey.
I hate the padding. If I felt like it would actually help, I would genuinely type into Google Greek philosopher dude. That exact sentence. Oh shit. Whatever. So I'm forgetting the name of the guy, but there is this actually like very regarded philosopher guy who's like brand of philosophy follows a thing where you ask more questions than you do answers, I guess, where you question the motive more than you question the fact or something like that.
Ah.
And the game, Biomutant, is written very much like that. It's like, okay, so you did this, and the narrator questions you. Yes, you saved those you saved the bus full of orphans, but did you do it out of the kindness of your heart, or did you do it for your own good? Like, did you do it to benefit to your own benefit, so you can do something malicious? And the whole game is built around basically this thing of you can do pretty much whatever you want. I mean, there's confines. You can't. I don't think you can kill the NPCs and shit like that, like you can do in Fallout. That would be kind of funny though.
Right.
But you know, like within like talking to people and doing quests, you can go up to a quest giver, hear them out, and then go, I don't want to do your quest. I don't feel like it, and that's taken as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you tell them, because some of the replies are kind of bad. Like, you know, it's not. I don't. It's not. They tell you that they need like help. I don't know, rebuilding their house after it burned down, and you go, you know, I'll help you, or I can't help you right now. It's you go, I'll help you, or I will burn you down. So they don't really beat around the bush with that sort of stuff. But yeah, W, can you figure out which Greek philosopher guy I'm thinking of? Because we tried with Pink, but he's also drawing a blank. So there's a guy I'm thinking of who has a major part of philosophy, from what I understand, dedicated to following how he thought, and then he's also kind of well known for being annoying because of how he established this sort of philosophy.
Okay.
Likely Aristotle or Plato.
I think it's Aristotle.
Plato?
I think it's Aristotle. Holy shit, is it Aristotle? I'm checking him out. Alright, is it Aristotle that I'm thinking of? Yes! No! No, it's not. No, it's Socrates.
Socrates? Nobody likes Socrates.
Oh, so everyone hates Socrates? It's not just me. So yeah. So the whole what you came back to W is me trying to figure out to actually draw this comparison. So a lot of how the game is written, a lot of how the dialogue is written is very like Socrates, in that it's kind of annoying to try and test how much you stick to your morals, and trying to figure out what your motives are behind the morals. Like, you know, why you think the way you do. And also, a lot of the wacky characters are very specific, which kind of masks this a bit, but not enough in some instances. But like, you'll go to a guy who is on a ship drinking. His whole character is that he's an alcoholic. And then you speak with him, and he does nothing but make drink puns for the whole dialogue. And that's every character. Yeah. That's every character.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I've exhausted pretty much everything I can really talk about the game. Like, obviously, I could go into more detail, but we don't need to. if you're ready, we can move on.
I think I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, then. Yeah. Talk about your week.
I am as well.
Probably gonna hurry along. Pink needs to get back to his birthday, and also this podcast's gone super fucking long.
There's cake waiting for me.
I know. I feel really bad about that.
Oh yeah. While you do it, I'm gonna post it. I forgot to post Pink his freaking his song.
Either which way, yeah. Shit. I'll just try and speed through as fast as I can. I've been reading a lot of really old comics from Marvel, the original Stan Lee, Jack Kirby days. Stan Lee sucks, or at least those early comics suck. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were obviously stretched too thin. Jack Kirby did not get to really draw, so the Jack Kirby art actually sucks pretty bad. And you can go back and read the 50s Marvel monster comics and see that Jack Kirby's art was good even back then. So it's clearly workload rather than Jack just learning, because it goes from good to bad to good.
Mm-hmm.
Stan Lee, really hackish writer at that point. It's Mad Libs writing. It is heroes get into a fight amongst themselves. Villain shows up. Villain kidnaps heroes. Heroes free themselves. Villain accidentally kills self. There you go. That's every plot. And for
That's
all
the formula.
Every hero spot, you can either fill in Fantastic Four, or Avengers, or Spider-Man, or X-Men, or Daredevil. And for the villain spot, Stan Lee was always choosing from one of three answers: mad scientist, communist, little green man from Mars. Without fail. And he wrote every comic the same, and it's really stupid reading the old Fantastic Four comics and seeing Human Torch and Thing try to kill each other casually. And Thing in those early issues is not Thing, the Thing that you know and love. No, he's a psychotic asshole, which is great.
Yeah.
Avengers, I think I mentioned this to Addy last week. Hank Pym was a piece of shit even back in the first issue. I always figured it was exaggerated. No, Hank's just that bad of a person, even before he had his psychotic breaks. Stan Lee, the master of writing dialogue, of course, he writes everyone's dialogue the same way. But Hank and Janet, he took the time to make sure they get special dialogue. See, every line Janet says in those old Avengers issues is, "Oh, I'd like to get me a piece of that," when she's looking at any man other than Hank. And all of Hank's dialogue is, "Be quiet, woman! Shut up, woman! No one cares!" And it's like, yeah, I wonder why Janet cheats on Hank so much. I wonder why the most satisfying moment of the Ultimates was Captain America beating the shit out of Hank.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
We
Avengers
need Captain America out of suit. Like even just like a freelance artist Steve Rogers beating the shit out of Hank for no reason.
Avengers, I read up a bit. I read up until like the late period of Cap's Kooky Quartet. I think that's what people call it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where Stan Lee figured out very quickly, I actually don't know how to write a super powerful super team. So let's get rid of all the actual muscle of the team and replace it with another dude with no powers, a dude who has super speed, which I can easily excuse as, oh, well, the villain caught him, so his speed doesn't matter, and a chick who has the most poorly defined superpowers in comic book history. Also, for whatever reason, Steve, Hank, and Pietro are all psychopaths and want to kill each other. And Wanda is the only one out of them who isn't the biggest douchebag on the planet. See, the thing with Stan Lee's writing is, he's good at writing internal conflict. Internal. But when he tries to do external conflict, it's always hackneyed. It's always dudes getting into fights for no reason or getting fights over women consistently. And he can't write superpowered problems because every time he has to write a superpowered problem, it boils down to mind control, communists, aliens. How many times in those old comics does Doctor Doom or Iron Man hypnotize someone? You don't see Iron Man do that anymore. Solve all of his problems through hypnotism.
Jarvis took that out.
One of those old comics, Human Torch saves the day by making a hypnotizing fire pattern in the sky that hypnotizes the villain.
Nice.
So stupid.
The
original Skrull invaders, Mr. Fantastic has them turn into cows and then hypnotizes them to think they're actual cows.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then later on, they get taken to a slaughterhouse, killed, and eaten by some regular dudes who then get Skrull powers.
Nice.
And don't those guys become their whole gimmick as they start hunting down and eating the Skrulls?
Yeah.
That's horrifying. Skrulls are sentient beings.
Right?
Nah,
It's
it's the Kirby method.
disturbing.
It's the Kirby method. They ingest their power.
Uh,
Why do you think he's called Jack Kirby? But yeah.
that was Stan Lee by that point. I think by that point, Kirby wasn't drawing Avengers anymore. It
Ah,
switched
okay.
to Don Heck, I think, who is not great.
Yep.
By the way, just as a side note, can I say how weird it is for me, as someone who's only known Jarvis as a program, to actually have him exist in Avengers manner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything either. He's just there.
Yeah.
What do I want to get in real quick? But yeah, like reading those old comics, like Captain America, in his head is like, I'm not really a person. I'm really more of an I'm not really a man. I'm a living icon, which means I don't get to have fun or have a personal life. Or Hawkeye in his head is like, why am I such a dick all the time? Why can't I help myself? Why can't I just bite my tongue? And that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then the characters' lips actually start moving. They actually start fighting, and they just go back to playing it douchebag. There is a definite point you can track with Fantastic Four where it starts to actually get good. And of course, like I think where it fully settles in is, of course, Galactus' first appearance. But I think before that, you start to get the signs of it. Those two comics that are pretty well right in a row of Thing versus Hulk, the first real Thing versus Hulk showdown, because they have them show up and like Hulk just cheap shots him at some point. But the first
With a
real
chair.
Thing versus Hulk, yeah, that is when Kirby really picks up in terms of like his capability to make a good looking fight scene in a comic. And that was the first one that felt like really just crazy, And I'm in the middle of talking, but someone is insistently knocking on my door anyways. I guess who it is.
You need to stop talking shit about Jack Kirby.
Huh?
It's,
The ghost of Kirby.
yeah, I was going to say it's Stan Lee, but then I remembered.
The angry ghost of Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's Fourth Ghost.
What was I in the middle of saying? Yeah, the first real Thing versus Hulk showdown, and then the thing where the bit where Doctor Doom hijacks the Baxter building and Thing tears his suit apart. That that right there, like Thing doesn't feel like Thing until that moment. That's kind of like the watershed moment there. That is Thing's Wolverine in the Hellfire Club basement moment.
Yep.
And from there, you're off to the races, and it gets a lot better. I skipped over large stretches of the first 50 issues of Fantastic Four, but now that I'm past those first 50 issues, now I keep thinking like, well, shit, I need to start skipping issues, or else I'm not going to finish it before the subscription's up. But I can't. It feels like stuff's actually happening now. Important things are happening. By the way, Sue's pregnancy with Franklin is announced with like no pomp or circumstance. Like it's just very simply.
Just what happened.
Yeah, like it's just like Reed says, Sue, you need to be careful of the baby. And it's like, wait, what? The baby? Also, Jack Kirby, for whatever reason, doesn't know how to draw a pregnant woman, or Stan Lee told him not to draw a pregnant woman. I wouldn't be so shocked because Stan is Stan. So Sue, for the entirety of her pregnancy, even when she's about to deliver, is still just as skinny as normal.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say Jack Kirby doesn't know how to draw a pregnant woman or Stan Lee.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to draw.
To be fair, the only time Jack Kirby does draw Stan Lee, you can only see Stan from behind.
I see.
That is true.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Spider-Man, I think, like out of the early Marvel offerings, I think Spider-Man's really the only one that comes ahead. Though even then, you kind of deal with, man, early Peter was an asshole.
Yeah.
Like he feels like a school shooter. Early Peter does.
It was the 70s.
No, it wasn't. It was the early 60s.
Okay, it was the early 60s.
I did not know that the high school section actually lasts that long. I thought Peter graduated like 8 issues in. No, high school actually lasts a fair bit. Is he in high school for the
Oh
entirety of
yeah,
the Ditko
yeah.
run?
I want to say yes, but it might have been a little while after that Ditko left because one of the key reasons that Ditko left was because he wanted to leave him in high school. So I think he maybe illustrated one issue of Peter when he was in college, and then after that, Ditko is no more, and it goes over to
Yeah.
John Romita, who would carry that banner for the next like decade or so.
And John Romita, like, obviously Ditko had a lot of strengths to his Spider-Man run, but he also had a lot of flaws. Romita is considered really the
Yeah,
classic Spider-Man writer, right?
yeah. That's where everyone has. I mean, if you think Spider-Man, you're typically going to be thinking of John Romita's big, bright blue and red. Also, is Peter or Spider-Man a lot more bulky than Ditko's was? Had a lot more heroism and movement to the character.
More
Yeah.
Ditko was always a little
larger pupils on the mask.
lanky and stiff.
And if,
No,
and
no pupils on the mask.
And they actually do explain that a couple issues into Ditko's run. They do explain that Spider-Man specifically built the mask to hide his eyes. But
Yeah.
I hope one thing that ends real quick with Spider-Man is him making bullshit gadgets out of webbing. Like, watch out, I've got my web skis. What?
No, you don't get
I mean,
it. That's just
I
what he
love
calls it.
some of those things. Some of them were just way too out there.
No, you don't get it. He's just calling them his webs. His web skis.
I hate it.
Oh, man. Yeah, reading those old comics, yeah, it's like, you really, honestly, like, for the average person, you could really just recommend maybe read the first issue of most characters just so you can see their origin, then skip 5 years. Skip to 65 or 66.
Yeah, very much so.
All right. And let's see. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk bits of wrestling because there was SmackDown last night, but I don't want to dwell on it too much because this podcast has already gone on long enough. There's only really a couple points really worth hitting. They had a tag team match. It was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I was excited for that because I've seen some move compilations of Rhea Ripley, but I've never seen a full match of hers. I was not disappointed. I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I was expecting Liv Morgan to be the weak link, and she probably was. She was kind of the worst one in the match, but she didn't embarrass herself. She actually did pretty well, I thought, all things considered. I've not watched that much Liv Morgan matches,
Yeah.
but the few that I have seen, Pink, I wanted to see if you agreed with this sentiment. Does it seem like Liv Morgan is like one of those competitive type wrestlers where she wrestles trying to keep up with whoever she's wrestling against, but otherwise does not really do her own thing?
Um, I kind of agree. I kind of don't. She's by no means is she a great wrestler, but it seems like she's always consistently trying to pull her weight. So I honestly give her massive props because every big match she's ever been in, she is more or less always delivered in my eyes. So I'm actually a big fan of hers.
All right. I just thought it was really interesting because this match it mostly boiled down to her versus Sasha and then Rhea versus Naomi. It seemed, well, it seemed like it was a lot of Sasha versus both. Shock of shock, Sasha Banks doesn't mind taking bumps.
Shocker.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Sasha and Liv did lots of like kind of tete-a-tete spots, right, where they're kind of evenly matched and doing a lot of the same stuff, running around the ring, and they even threw a
Yeah.
like cross counter drop kick, which I thought was interesting. I also giggled at one little bit. Naomi got tagged in, and Rhea kicked her in the head real hard, right? And Sasha starts nodding. You can see Sasha nodding from
Yeah.
the tag rope, and it's It's like, yeah, that sounds like Sasha, all right.
Mm.
Now this is wrestling. I won't be satisfied until you two kill each other. Pink is turning into more and more of a demon over time because of his internet's acting weird.
That's not his internet.
I knew it.
Uh,
I'm telling you, that didn't even light up, but I heard him speak. He's doing it telepathically.
yeah, he's beaming it directly into our brains. So let's see. I'll skip ahead to the end of the show real quick and then go backwards for what I thought was an interesting spot, which was they had the show end with Charlotte goes out and challenges Ronda. Ronda goes out to fight her, and I was confused. Like, why bring Ronda? Here's the thing: the show was in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's like,
Yeah.
why bother bringing Ronda out when you know that the fans are not going to boo Charlotte? Because it's Charlotte, North Carolina. Ric Flair is a god there.
Right.
They'll boo any of the Flair family members over their own dead bodies. Was something I thought was just bizarre. So Ronda goes out there to attack Charlotte because she's sick of Charlotte mouthing off, and Charlotte had hidden a kendo stick behind the turnbuckle post. She goes to swing at Ronda. Ronda ducks under it, clobbers her. They go to the ringside. Charlotte hit another kendo stick by the bell ringer.
She took no chances. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, after the second one missed. Charlotte then pulled out the candlestick from behind Ronda's ear.
Yeah. That'd been awesome. That one she gets her, and she jackknife powerbombed Ronda through the announce table.
Yeah, Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it was actually like it was a perfectly done spot because of course Charlotte did a perfect powerbomb on her end, and Ronda took it perfectly. I thought it was neat. But anyways, let's get back to the center, the middle part. They have a match. It's Kofi Kingston versus Ridge Holland. Holland,
Yes.
yeah, Ridge Holland with Sheamus and Butch at ringside. Now you may ask, who the fuck is Butch?
It's Walter. It's Walter.
I have no idea who Butch is.
I really liked it.
It's
Sorry, go ahead.
NXT UK legend Peter Dune.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, it's
Boy,
done,
NXT
that's
UK
Walter.
really turned out the masters, didn't it?
They've got like 3 people to speak for.
Oh right, I confused them because they renamed Walter to Gunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Butch is there. Butch was not announced ahead of time. They did not explain who Butch is, but Butch is there for some reason, and he's Butch. That's all his name is. Typical WWE, I guess.
Yeah, it's Butchbacker Butch.
So they have the match, and all I'm thinking is, okay, they're gonna have Kofi go out and squish Ridge Holland, right? Because Ridge, of course, broke Big E's neck like a big blundering dumbass last week.
Uh-huh.
And Ridge Holland looks like a walking potato, and he can't wrestle to save his life. Well, no, that's not entirely true. He's not an embarrassment in the ring like Khali or whatever, but he's boring. He can't cut promos. He's entirely hinging on riding Sheamus's coattails. He's big, so I guess there's that, but he's not a particularly impressive big. He's not cut big. So either which way, yeah, last week he did. Addie, did you hear about this?
What?
What broke Big E's neck?
No, I just heard that he broke his neck.
Ridge did an overhead belly to belly on him on the concrete.
Oh, why would you do that on a concrete? On the
And he
concrete.
botched it. He botched it. Ridge didn't arch his back properly, so he dropped Big E straight on his head.
Nice.
And so he starts the match off by showing, of course, a clip of Ridge breaking Big E's neck, right, and showing all these tweets of calling for supporting Big E and all that. And it's like, oh, sweet. So now we're gonna watch Kofi squash Ridge. No, Ridge beats him.
No. Of course, that sounds like a Vince McMahon move right there.
It's like that'll
I
learn him.
I thought you were going to say that like the match started off with Kofi doing release belly to belly on Ridge.
Oh god, they had another spot earlier in the night where Drew belly to belly, overhead belly to belly Jinder in the ring at least. But still, I was thinking, who the fuck let them do that? Like, unless they were stupid enough to pull a Punk and just go into business for themselves, like what? Like why? These people don't learn. They don't care.
Now
But
we don't need
either
to
which way.
we don't need to bend the moves that injured one of our workers literally last week, but we need to bend the blackout because kids may do it.
That is entirely what it is. Because you can pretty safely fake a pile driver, but they're worried about kids dropping each other on their heads.
Mm-hmm.
How in God's name has the diving headbutt still not been banned?
I don't know. It doesn't even look good. Is the thing.
No, it looks like trash. People do it. Okay. Well, here's Dynamite did it because Harley Race did it. Benoit did it because Dynamite did it. And now Daniel Bryan does it because Benoit did it.
Why did Harley Race do it?
This is all Harley Race's fault.
I like how I said it wrong. So
Harley-
Pink also said it wrong in the same way.
Harley Race died feeling horribly guilty and responsible for the death of Chris Benoit. I'm not joking. And Dynamite getting put in a wheelchair, and Daniel Bryan having to retire early at the time. Like,
oh, it almost makes me feel bad.
I know Daniel Bryan's depressive and all that, so maybe he doesn't care about his own life, but like, fucking seriously, man. There's just so much that, like, does it really improve your wrestling viewing experience to see an overhead belly to belly? Does it really improve your wrestling viewing experience to see a diving headbutt? No, unless you're one of those garbage marks who is only content to watch Ian Rotten fucking razor blade himself or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. An overhead belly to belly could look good, but it is not safe. A diving headbutt never looks good.
I hate the overhead belly to belly. I think it's a dumbass move. Like, the only situation where I think it's acceptable is when it's a big guy doing it to a much smaller guy.
Oh yeah,
Otherwise,
no. It only works when like Brock does it to like Ray or something like that.
Like, it's too much of a work move.
Yeah.
It's too much of a work move. The guy receiving has to jump. Like, come on. And so often they don't even bother really doing it. It's just that the guy receiving does a front flip and the guy giving vaguely gestures at him. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hate that move. You know what? I'm going to get this in just because I keep forgetting to mention it. They don't do it too more, but you know what? Too much anymore. God, I butchered that. What is in your opinion, the worst wrestling move? Because I'll start off with mine just to jog some minds. I despise the Russian leg sweep.
Oh, that's a good one.
Playmaker, overdrive.
Yeah, I was going to say the overdrive as well.
That's the worst.
That one's pretty atrocious.
All right, so you took the Russian last week. Pink took the overdrive. What's mine? I guess
I had to act fast before you took that one.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the heart punch.
Heart punch? Oh, I actually kind of like the heart punch in a goofy, cartoony way.
Yeah, I think it's too cartoony for me.
If he just punched him in the center of the chest, it wouldn't be anything. It's the like pulling up the arm to kayfabe expose the heart, which is so dumb, but I love it anyways.
I mean, the thing is, I guess, is that like it could work when both wrestlers are fatigued, and shit like that. Like, it can work when it's built up properly. It's just a lot of times I see it without being built up, and it also can be used in the games properly because you put the hard punch in as your character's finisher or whatever. You're not using that finisher when both of you are at like red health or whatever, like black body health when it can go down anymore. No, you use it when you get a finisher, and usually the first finisher won't actually finish the match. And the hard punch, I could see the hard punch actually finishing a match, and and the match building up to it properly. But it's just most of the time when I come across it, it's just it's like the Canadian Destroyer. It's not built up to, and it looks dumb out of context.
The trouble with the heart punch is that hypothetically it's a move that's supposed to kill somebody.
Yeah, that too.
This is something that so many wrestling people in general, I guess, wrestlers, bookers, writers, fans, whatever, don't often think about is why would any wrestling promoter allow one wrestler to kill another? I was just the other day listening to a shoot Scott Hall did that was released on the day of his death by Sean Oliver. And at one point, Scott Hall was talking about how there was some guy who cut a promo against him in WWE when he was under the Razor gimmick. Said, "Oh, I'm going to kill you, man." And afterwards, Scott Hall went backstage with him and said, "Oh, am I going to have to call my family and tell them I ain't coming home tonight? What the fuck you mean you're going to kill me? It's wrestling, dumbass. You ain't killing anybody. Say you're going to whoop me. Say you're going to pin me. Say you're going to put me in a submission hold. But don't say you're going to kill me. That's stupid." And it is.
Yeah.
Every time they have a wrestler gang up on another wrestler and the security team doesn't come in to help.
Nah, it's fine. Just have a mask versus life match.
Yeah.
I
forgot. Oh, God. Japanese C4 matches. But
Wee.
Is that Pink's new announcement of I think this is stupid? Wee.
Oh, joy.
I remembered there was something actually fairly important that I didn't mention. They wanted to do a kind of an Attitude Era style bit here. So the start of the show was Roman and the Usos and Paul Bearer were trying to get away from Brock. So they went and got in their limo. And Brock drove over in a forklift and put the forks through the windows of the limo, right?
Right.
Which it immediately begs the question of, okay, where are the police? The follow-up thing is the Usos and Roman pile out of the limo and then run around the forklift, get in a truck behind the forklift, and just drive off. Brock does nothing to stop them. He waits until they take like an hour to hobble into the truck, start the engine, drive off, and then Brock gets out of the forklift and runs after them screaming. And here's another thing. Paul Heyman just disappears. Paul's not.
He's still in the limo.
No,
He's in the limo.
Dead.
No, Paul Heyman is in Roman's party, so he just got absorbed into him as they ran away.
Yeah.
He's in Roman's inventory right now.
Yeah.
We'll be back later.
Roman probably could fit Paul in Roman's pockets. It's all dumb. Oh God! Like just going back to the Ridge thing, like I would think like guy breaks another wrestler's neck like that. If you're not firing him, if you're not sitting him back down to developmental, put the guy on his back for a little bit. Just send a message. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not entirely his fault, you still want to send a message to the other guys. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
But like, Vince just has those. If it is Vince, which nowadays there's so little doubt I have that Vince does a whole lot of anything because it just sounds more and more of the stories that come out make it sound like Vince is being puppeted around.
By Stephanie on ropes. It's Weekend and Bernie's thing.
Not even her.
It's Shane.
It sounds like the rumor floating around was that it was actually Kevin Dunn that was going out of his way to assassinate everything Hunter's done.
Ah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because Kevin Dunn's idea of wrestling is the complete opposite of Hunter's idea of wrestling. So yeah, But at the same time, I could accept that it's Vince, right? Was there ever any solid information in that rumor that Drew McIntyre got buried when it turned out his wife was beating him because Vince doesn't respect a man who's getting hit by his wife?
I didn't look into whether that was factual or not.
With Vince, it's hard to say whether anything's factual or not unless you actually are talking to someone who knows him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I don't know what to think of Vince. I don't know what to think of Vince for so often things like this, like how involved he would even be. He's a genius and a madman and will never be fully understood. And he needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to get out now.
He is going. He's adding himself to the blockchain.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if it actually turned out to be a match between him and Pat McAfee at WrestleMania, then he'd be going. But no, it's a match of him versus it's a match of Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, which is far more irrational. Do you think someone's feeding bad information to Brad Meltzer deliberately, or Dave
Yes.
Meltzer? That I'd actually love that. If I, on one hand, I think it'd be funny if it was just a regular troll. On the other hand, I think it would be even better if WWE has set up a patsy, like a fake leaker, right?
Yeah.
Because if they can keep Dave Meltzer running in circles, that would just be, I mean, awesome. Especially because by now there is no winning with Meltzer because Meltzer is explicitly part of AEW's camp. Either which way, I guess we want to wrap up the wrestling talk real quick. Y'all hear about that rumor that Cody's signed on?
Indeed.
No, I heard about Stardust coming back though. So yeah, anyway. Do you think this is like apparently words? Like, does he have actual proper like does he actually properly own legally the Rhodes name for performing?
Well, Dusty was able to work under the Dusty Rhodes name in several promotions because he was Dusty Rhodes in both WCW and WWF.
Yeah, but that was the thing with him and WWE a while back after he quit and went to AEW, where he couldn't use the name legally.
He's been Cody Rhodes the entire time in AEW, hasn't he? He's been the American Nightmare. Or
no,
whatever.
not for the entire time. For the first bit, he was Cody, and then he tried to settle things with WWE, and they told him that they won't give him the rights just because he's Dusty's son or something like that. And then he started using Cody Rhodes to spite them or something like that.
I don't know the full story. I just remember in very, very early interviews when Cody first set out onto the Indies, he said, yes, there was a legal dispute in whether or not he could use a name, but to him, if I recall correctly, he said that WWE would more than likely let him wrestle under that name if he had asked. He just didn't, because he didn't feel like it was something worth... He didn't feel like his legacy was something worth fighting for in court or asking permission to use, so he never bothered. He just carried on his own way and just assumed everybody already knows I'm Dusty's son, so there's no need to put the Rhodes behind the Cody. And then he started working with his wife Brandy, so if they get announced as Cody and Brandy Rhodes, it kind of clears up any potential confusion anybody could possibly have. So I think in his mind it was never, I'm not allowed to use Rhodes' name. It's, if I ask, they'll let me use it, but I'm not going to ask because I don't need to and I don't want to.
Because yeah, like my thing was just like, do y'all think they'll change his name so they can trademark it? Call him Cody Rhodes.
No. Cody Rhodes. Because they already allegedly own the copyright on Cody Rhodes, there's no need to change his name because he's back in the company and they never lost that trademark.
That's true. Did he ever stop using the disaster kick? It never looked good. Never.
He hasn't He hasn't used a disaster kick in years, to my knowledge, but I haven't seen all his AEW matches.
That's your problem. You need to watch more
That is my
AEW.
problem.
You need to watch more.
I should watch more AEW.
You need to
There's so
you
many
need to watch.
wrestlers on that brand that I like.
You
You
need to watch
know,
more Limoncello or
like
whatever his
CM
name is.
Punk and and well,
Small
I'm sure
Cassidy.
there's got to be somebody else as well.
MJF.
I really like MJF. That is true. Jericho, MJF, CM Punk. That's those are my
Modern
three boys.
Jericho.
Are you
No,
saying-
I refuse to believe you like modern
Are
Jericho.
you saying you don't? Are you saying you don't like Sting?
I despise Sting. Screw that guy in particular. The only reason anybody ever wanted to see Sting in a match with Undertaker is because we all were very curious as to which one would underperform the worst. Both those guys suck ass. Screw them both.
Oh, you know who else is at AEW that's awesome? Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson, yeah. He let Alicia Fox wrestle while she was drunk. That was pretty cool.
Was that him? I thought that was
That was him or Malenko, but I'm pretty sure it was Arn.
or was it Michael Hayes?
No, Michael Hayes is still with WWE.
No,
Because why wouldn't he be?
Michael Hayes got in trouble for trying to get Rosa Mendez drunk, didn't he?
Yeah, probably.
That class act that he is.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Yes, he did allow a drunk Alicia Fox to wrestle. And knowing Arn may have been drunk at the same time, honestly.
Who else even is in AEW? All of the TNA talent. Jeff Hardy coked out of his
Actually,
mind.
less TNA talent than you would think. We've actually got... Last time I checked, which has been a while, I think we had more TNA or ex-TNA talent in WWE and on the independents than in... I was about to say Impact. Than in AEW.
Well, I mean,
Well, they've got
that was before everyone got shafted from WWE, wasn't it? Though.
True.
that. Yeah, that would absolutely be true. Because, like, I mean, at WWE for a little bit, they had AJ, they had Samoa Joe, they had Mickey James. Do you really need anyone else from TNA?
No. I mean, it would have been nice to have the Motor City Machine Guns, but those guys are never going anywhere. I've come to accept this as fact.
I wish the Motor City Machine Guns appeared on WWE enough for their name to be in the games. That's it. That's the coolest part
Is it
about
not already in the game? Well, maybe they. I don't think they could put it in the game now that I say that out loud because trademarks.
Yeah.
I need to check that real quick though.
Dixie Carter
I
wasn't
have
that
machine
stupid.
guns, but probably not flat out Motor City.
You can choose one. They are the Motor City or they are the machine gun.
They can be both.
Making his way to the ring, representing the Motor City.
Somewhere out there, Kevin Nash is like, I didn't agree to this. I believe we could probably wrap this up. Addy, say bye.
Bye.